Okay, good afternoon all. Hope everyone is well. Okay, so it's all right. I've just literally got to be computer 5 minutes ago. I've been out Christmas shopping, so I am running a little late. So everything's done that should be done, I think. So little volume overnight. We've had that little bit of congestion with a little channel break. Pushes up to a new high, so not much actually. So let's see what kind of day we had. No trades yesterday. It wasn't a great day. There was a second entry short, which I could have taken. There wasn't quite enough room to the lows. However, it did work. So we'll see. So Karina, good morning. Morning to you. So we got a little channel down here with a break. Now there are orders above and below price up here and down here. In fact, those are quite a bit lower. So they're around about the 52 level. So kind of in the middle of where we are now. So maybe we make two legs down, we push up. Now, I'm not sure whether there's a channel there or not. I'm not super convinced, which is why I've just put that there. But what I can tell you is we've had a channel up with a break and two clear pushes up. So this may be reversing. It's quite hard to say. Little Hammer, how you doing, buddy? Daryl, how you doing, mate? Armanas, how you doing, buddy? So, see how we get on here. But so 49, just under 50 actually. So I have a feeling now this may come down. You can see there's a bunch of sell orders just above 875. Where's that? Just above 875. So let's call it 9. So channel break, new low. So see, I mean, there are orders starting to pop up here, so maybe traders are thinking this thing's going up. I'm sitting tight just at the moment because I'm not so sure. I've gotten to trades like this before and regretted it. So at the moment, it's a little bit congested. Now, that may mean nothing, but for me, there may be a little bit of congestion there. Down across and possibly down. It's hard to say, but there are orders. Those orders are starting to get a bit higher, 52.50 and above. So basically at these highs, which is telling me there's a chance it can go higher, but there are also strong orders down here at 35. That's quite a bit lower, that is. So, well, actually this 38, 39-ish, somewhere about there. So I think really, as we're close to this thing might go up, but I'm not doing nothing at the moment. You can see there's a little bit congested there. So this may have a flush down. However, it's hard to say, really. I don't really want to stick my neck out. Beach Bum, how you doing, mate? It may go up, but this is a bit congested. You can clearly see it's congested, so it can't make up its mind what it wants to do. You can probably see it a bit clearer on here. So for me, I'm just sitting tight. I wouldn't be shocked if this had a quick flush down. So leg and a leg and a leg. Trouble is, when you've got orders above and below, usually it will go sideways. You don't know who's going to kind of win. Is there a large amount from 36, in fact? The trouble is with Bookmap, it changes constantly. So 35, 36. So around, let's put it in the middle. So around about this area, but it's quite evenly spaced above. So is it going to go up? Is it go down? That bar there, I wouldn't have taken. So it may trigger that and it may come down, stop that out, and come down for a second leg. Got no idea at the moment, purely because it's congested. So 1, 2, 3. You may argue there's a triple test there. Trouble is, because it's congested, it may trigger you and turn up. Or it may come down. I got no idea. It's a toss-up, I think. We have got a leg down and a cross, so we may get a second leg down. But I'm just staying out of this. As I say, I think that bar there, yeah, okay. So we have broke below that bar there. That, for me, was a red flag to go long. There have been traders thinking channel break, new low. Let's go long there, but it went nowhere. So I'm just sitting tight here. orders above and below. So I guess as good as mine. Started watching the video with Vlad. You won't be asking about taking longs above the Omega. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's had a mixed response. Now, I think mixed is probably a bit strong. I'd say it's more 70% can't stand him, 30% are willing to listen to him. I tend to, I'm not naive. I can tell he comes over very brash, a little bit mouthy, sounds a bit paranoid, and a little bit angry. I'm not going to deny that. Now, it doesn't mean to say he's not a great trader. I have heard quite a bit about him over the few years I've been trading. I've heard Mac mention him before. I know he's a friend of Marco's. I believe he's a successful trader, makes a lot of money. So, sometimes I can kind of look over the brashness. If I think he can teach me something, then I can sort of look above that. We could all have our opinions. But yeah, he said some interesting things, didn't he, about, shorting above the bit. He tends to only short below or long above. When you think about it, it's not really a bad policy, is it? So, but it's funny how we all kind of trade pats, or most of us do. But we can all kind of take different styles of trades. So it's not black. I've said this before with trade. It's not all black and white, is it? There's a lot of grey area, and I know some trades that I take, max marked. Dan says he wouldn't take them. So there's kind of there's still kind of differing opinions, even within the ranks, so to speak. So we knew there was orders above and below. In fact, those orders have dropped here. They've pushed up to about 43. So they're there now. So there's buy orders there above this, which is telling me that there's buyers there. So it is likely this thing pushes up. It's been them at the minute. So I wasn't sure whether that was a channel. I wasn't willing to risk it. Having said that, there was nothing that would have enticed me to go long there at all. Not even on this chart. Now, I don't doubt there's two bearish bars possibly trapped there, but you don't know that. You don't know whether we're going to have a second leg. So I wouldn't have taken that bar, to be honest with you. And then there's nothing else. We just kind of move up, don't we? So there's nothing you can do, really. Yeah, I mean, he says he takes one really good quality trade a day. I agree with that. That's what I try to do, one a day. I don't believe there's a lot of setups, but it depends how you trade. Max says he goes, what did he say, 1 to 2 trades a day? He rarely does 3. So let's say he does 2 trades a day. Scalping for a point, I get that. I go for 3 points. So for me, no. A lot of trades Mac does mark, they go for maybe 6 or 7 ticks. I think there was one yesterday specifically. So I think waiting for one quality trade a day for scalping for 3 points, which is what I do, is about right, I think. Now, Marco and Dan trade for 6 ticks, which is half of what I get, and they may take 1 to 2. I don't think they take a lot more than that. So I think where I am is about right, just waiting for that good, clear setup, that's showing strong momentum that then often works. I take 1 trade a day since 2. Yeah. If you're taking 1 trade a day, no one can tell you really you're overtrading. So overtrading is a big problem for traders. I suppose you'd like to say more experienced traders, but if you're taking 1 trade a day, that tells me you're a patient person. You know what you're looking for, and you're aiming down the right road. So that's all I try to do. That's why when I take a winning trade, I rarely take another one, because as far as I'm done, I've hit my target and done it well. And why risk kind of losing it? Now, that's not to say I wouldn't take one if I saw an absolute beauty. But as I've said before, I hate giving money back. I know they say some traders, they win a trade and they want more and they get greedy. I'm the complete opposite. I actually don't want to take another trade. I'm quite happy with my profit because I know I've done my job, and I can walk away, feeling like I've done what I was supposed to. But yeah, That's good policy, that, Karina, I think. One trade a day. So it's hard to say exactly what's going on here, whether there's something larger. I don't really think you can. I don't really think you can start doing stuff. You know, one thing Vlad did say, he doesn't mess around with the bigger stuff. Mac will mark it maybe just to give us some guidance, but I think really I like what he says. He's waiting for the kind of short term stuff, which I think is right. We need to follow this. Trouble is, if we're trading a channel like that, uh, and prices up here, we're waiting for it to come down here. Now, there may be a channel up with a break and a new high, and it may be coming down. So then we may miss profit on the way down here, depending on whether we think it's a bullish day or not. But I think sometimes going for the bigger stuff can get you into trouble. Just speaking from my experience and how it might have affected me. I have a bad day because of migraine or something personal. I don't trade. I think that's a good idea as well. So, speaking from my experience, if something's going on in my life or at home, or I'm frustrated or annoyed at something or whatever it is, that can affect your trading. And if something's going on, now, if you're trading a sim, you know, it doesn't really matter. But if you're risking money and you're having a bad day for whatever reason, I think that's a good day. A good day you should take off. Now, you know, I get you're going to think, well, I could miss out on profit. Yeah, but you may well miss out on a loss. And the next day or two is going to be recovering from that. So I think if something's not right in your personal life for whatever reason, I think it's always good policy to take the day off. Who doesn't like a day off? Go and have a beer, go and relax, do something, go for a walk, go and do some fishing. Uh, you know, whatever you kind of do. So we've got a channel up here with a break and a new high. So at the moment, it's hard to say exactly what's going on. We are getting up to this level up here, so you don't know whether we're going to shop above it or drop below it. Can you see a lot of orders? There's some at 47, there's some up here, but not super strong. There's no deep reds or anything, so I probably think that maybe because it's a little bit unclear as to what's going on. So that's the only reason. That's the reason I'm putting down to why there's not a huge amount of strong orders in here. Now, if we get down to this area here, we may, where is that? So let's say 41, 42. There may start to be some orders popping up. You know, if we're thinking leg down, and then maybe, you know, a correction and maybe further up, but we'll see. See if some pop up down here. But I wouldn't know whether to go long or short here at the moment, in all honesty. So, uh, probably say we've had a little channel with a break. Uh, One thing I did get off Lad is he keeps his channels tight. Now, I've been trying to do that a lot more lately because I know Dan does that and Mac does it. I think it's way more important. Marco. Thomas Wade does the other. Thomas Wade draws wider channels relatively quickly. So that's kind of his way of doing it. I kind of think that is probably right. And we've already had a break, maybe. Trouble is, as I say, it's not an exact science, is it? So there's like a second entry. Well, let's call that hidden second entry long there, which is triggered. Now, I wonder if this is the kind of reversal Vlad talks about. Puts it one tick below there. So what does he go for? Between 2 points and 10 ticks. So let's put it 2 points. This to me is a bit congested anyway. You got 3 bars stacked back to back. So there's a bit of a double trap here anyway. You got a bull bar which triggered and stopped out, and then you got a bear bar which is triggered. Pretty sure that's going to get stopped out. Drops above there. So you can do there anyway. did like how he said you could adjust the channel wider one time, but not. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had some interesting things to say. He comes over very brash, very gobby. Some people are like that. Some people are like that. If he's good at what he does and he's got value, then I can overlook that. My opinion of him, the way he comes over, is one thing. My opinion of him as a trader can be completely different. But yeah, so if we have something like this and we decide to change it, we leave it. He certainly had some strong opinions on doing certain things, strong enough to pay attention to. Anyone know how old Vlad is? Did he not say he was 30 something, 36 something like that? I can't remember. I only recorded about 4 hours. 41. I only recorded about 4 hours. I just got a bit tired after that. It's a long time to sit and listen to him, isn't it? So same here. There's not a huge amount of orders. Now there's a black spell here, isn't it? Black spot. There's not a lot of orders here. And if you look at these little balls here, aggressive buyers and sellers, there's loads of little tiny ones. So this to me is just, you can clearly see it's stacking up. So there are some orders down here below this black bit and above. So I don't know whether it's going to go up or down. Looks like it's coming down, doesn't it? So actually thinking about it, there's a second entry long there and it's triggered and come down. Trouble is, I wouldn't have, it's a bit crappy to be fair, isn't it? Marco's 36, 41, 42, yeah. Didn't he say his opinion on trading was 7 to 8 years? I don't agree with that. So don't let that put you off if he said that. And you've been trading for 3 years and you think, oh my God, another 5 years of it. Not true. It makes a difference on who you are. It makes a difference on how much hours you put in. Yeah, he's definitely got some language on him, hasn't he? Colourful language, shall we say. I mean, him and Marco are like chalk and cheese, aren't they? They couldn't be further apart. So we're clearly a bit congested here. It's not super clear exactly what's going on. My gut feeling, I was going to say my gut feeling that it may come down for a second leg, but there are slightly stronger orders. You can see the orders at 50. Mind you, 50 is at the top of this anyway. So I would say my gut feeling is we're going to come down, but there are quite strong orders, not super strong, but certainly in the 3 figures at 50, which would kind of be in keeping with this little bit of range or this little bit of sideways stuff. So maybe we're going to push down, rattle about, have a little fail breakout, and then push down. So that, I suppose, is a possibility. This doesn't look like to me like any type of trend. It could be. In fact, it could be actually. It's hard to say. I think it's probably a bit. I certainly wouldn't bet on it. It may be. I think it's a bit too sideways, personally. So Thomas Wade's got that. For some reason, it looks better on his chart than it did on mine. But I think it's sideways just as much as it's upwards. So I think the steeper the channel, I think the more you can count on it. Totally opposite personality. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I spoke to Marco after, and he said he's not usually like that. He's kind of calm. I don't know how you can switch from being someone who's calm into someone who came over like that. I don't know. Maybe he's had a bad day, but if a bad day affects you like that, you wouldn't think it would make you a good trader, would you? Because if you're like that in front of the charts, angry like that, you wouldn't think you'd make a penny. So it is a bit unusual. I think there was a lot of us which were quite surprised. Drugs, you don't know, do you? He did say he partied a lot, didn't he? It wouldn't surprise me by the sound of thing if he doesn't go heavy on the drink and drugs. Is there some kind of a spike in channel here? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it is drugs that's made a bit like that. Who knows? Trouble is, if you like that a lot of the time, that would be, you wouldn't have thought that would be a good way to be in front of the chart, would you? Yeah, it sounds like it, bud, doesn't it? Too much partying. He did say, did he say he parties about 5 days a week? No wonder he's like that. Especially if he's 40. I mean, it's not old, but, I know when I was 40, I couldn't do that. Mind you, I couldn't do that when I was 18. I could never go out drinking 2 days in a row. I couldn't go out, drink, have a bad hangover and go out the next day. I had mates that could. I could never. They say hair of a dog and all that didn't work for me. I could never do it 2 days in a row. I tried many a times. I just couldn't do it. Yeah, I know, married as well. You must have one hell of a patient wife. You never know. Maybe he's not like that, but it's unusual to be like that for 4 hours straight. And that's a completely different side. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? You could never. No, I couldn't work with an hangover either, bud. Nothing worse. No, oh, nothing worse than working with a hangover. It's a nightmare, isn't it? So now I'm just going to remove that. This does look like a spike in channel. So I'm looking at bookmap. I can see orders above and orders below. I can still see stronger orders at 50 up here. 105 contracts, but they're still quite strong here. So this thing could go up or down. Now, as we're getting what looks like a channel down and what looks like a break, maybe this thing will come down. There is a second entry short there, but I'm just sitting tight here because it's a bit trappy. That may work, actually. There's a higher low there, so you would think that would work, but I don't like this at the moment. It's a bit choppy, so it might sting you, but yeah. I mean, my guess it was going to break below there, but there's not a great deal of space to the lows there, so I left it alone, but that seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back anyway. Did just eat through those sell orders there, so yeah. So I would say that is a channel then, and we've had a break of it in a new low, and we are what looks like finding a little bit of support here. Actually, we broke below it, I think. I was just wondering whether we're going to bounce. In fact, you know what? I have a feeling. Let me just clear this up. I'm just going to draw a bit of a range here. I'm going to leave it like that just at the moment. It's hard to say at the moment. See if we get some reaction here. So channel break, new low. We have bounced here twice. There's no trade for us anyway. It's a bit of an inside bar, really. Having said that, I don't use VWAP. I'm pretty sure that's VWAP, but we are bouncing off VWAP. Where's we at 40, isn't it? 40, just above 40. So there's VWAP. So we've touched it. So maybe that's going to push up. I don't know, really. As I say, I don't use VWAP, but a lot of people swear by it. So is there a reason to go long off the bottom? Bounce, bounce. We're going sideways here, and there's VWAP. So maybe, but it's not a good enough reason to go long. But, you would have said, if you had to bet, do we go long off here or short? Obviously, long will probably be the answer, but it's just a bit unclear, isn't it? So it's a bearish bar there. That's instantly. Now that is quite a strong bar off there. But it's a bit congested here, and it's rather large, so I'm just sitting tight. Terrible migraine when you're hungover, yeah. Depends on the drink as well. I used to drink Guinness. I don't suppose a lot of you Americans know what Guinness is. Yeah, in fact, you should do by now. It's just that thick, dark drink with like a big sort of creamy head. I used to drink that, and I used to get to 5 or 6 pints. I'd feel sick the next day. I can drink half a bottle of whiskey, and I barely have any type of a hangover really in the slightest. I don't get sick at all, so it does depend on the type of drink you drink, really, doesn't it? But my wife gets bad hangovers. She can't handle a drink. I know we went to, where was it? We went to Rhodes, sort of Greek islands, a few years ago. And my wife had quite a lot of drink, and she was proper hungover. She was hanging over the toilet naked, throwing up, and all of a sudden peed herself. So as I was trying to lift her up, she was slipping in her own pee, and I had to get her in the shower and rinse her off. So yeah, my wife, when she has too much, she just gets proper hungover. Mind you, we've all been in that state, I suppose, at least once in a life. But yeah, she was on her hands and knees throwing up, and I could just see a puddle appearing beneath her knees. Yeah. So, you know what? Looking at this, is there any type of something like that? It's possible. So we had quite a strong push up there, but then we whipped back a little bit, didn't we? And then we had this bar, and I don't like any of that. It's a bit congested. So it's not a good enough reason for me to get into a trade, really. You started drinking martini. I don't get hangovers. Martini, I haven't had that for years. It's quite a dry. Well, don't they have martini rosé or something? They have like a red, slightly sweet drink, but it's quite clear and dry, isn't it? So I went for a stage of drinking gin. I did, like a nice gin and tonic with some lemon in it in the summer. It's quite really refreshing. But about 12, 14 years ago, I started drinking whiskey. Purely by accident, really. And that's kind of all I drink now. If I go out for a meal, a lot of times I'll have a pint of cider. I don't necessarily like drinking whiskey with a meal, because if you're having something spicy, whiskey's spicy, and I think they clash. So, we'll go out for an Indian or a Chinese or something like that. I'll have, a cider or something. But if we go out for a pasta or something like that, then I'll have a whiskey. But I don't think spice and spice go down really well together. So I've got these looking quite different. See, funnily enough, that doesn't actually look too bad as a channel. But then we got a strong move up, whereas on this side, this, you can see we're touching a couple of times there. We've literally touched it here, touched there, touched there. We've had a little break and then straight down to a no low. But there was definitely some buyers in there. I had that little mark down here where VWAP was. You can see it there, and it's bounced right off VWAP. So, if you are thinking of taking a trade here, patch trader. So, I mean, you do see VWAP right under you, then that might give you a little bit of extra confirmation that maybe you're making the right decision after all. Now, would I bring that down there? Shall I leave it there? Thing is, so we've got it like that. Often when we have a break out the top, we have one the opposite end. So I think I'm going to leave mine. Let me see if anybody else. So Thomas has got his down here. His fits under here, mine doesn't. So I'm going to go with that, I think. Let's go with what he's got. It's as good as anything, I think. See if it looks any better here. It's the opposite down here. We've gone below it here and above it here, so who knows. So we've got some orders up here around about the maybe 3.5, 3 3/4, which is here. We're heading to it now, actually. 3.5, 3 3/4. Well, funny enough, it's right at the top. So there are a few sellers right here. 3 3/4. So that makes sense. So we've had a channel up with a break to pushes to a new high. It's hard to say at the moment. I mean, we've had some bounces here and a couple of attempts at a strong bounce. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing took off. It's hard to say. So we may end up getting something like that. Who knows? So you can see their orders starting to appear further up now. Some at around about 56-ish, 55.5, 56, and 60. So there. So price looks like. In fact, most of the stuff here, you can see it there, there, there. It is slowly dragging price up. You can see their orders up here. Where's that? Maybe around about 80, which is quite higher. It's up here. So let me just put that back. So if we put it to there, does this get us close to 80? Yeah, it does. So I'm guessing 80. Where are they? They just disappeared. Oh, yeah, sorry. So yeah, you've got 100 odd orders up here, mind you. I don't know whether that's going to work or not, but we'll see. So let's put that there. So I'm okay with that. We're touching a bunch of times there and bounce straight there as well. So I like that. I'm okay with that. So we've got a channel up. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a break here. Push up a bit higher. So you can see kind of two legs. That's what I'm looking at anyhow. It's fitting really nice there and along the top as well. So that's good enough for me. So there are quite a few orders up here. So my guess is this is going to go up. Be interesting to see if we get. It's going a bit sideways here, so there's bound to be some profit taken up here. That makes sense. So interesting to see if we get a little pullback. And then a wider channel up. You wouldn't expect that channel to go up like that forever, would you? But we can get back to that EMA and we may end up getting something like that. Who knows? So definitely 60. Strong sellers at 60. There are buy orders, but not a huge amount. There are some popping up around about 53, 54, which would give us a pullback to that line. Let's have a look. Okay, I said 53, 54. There are some. 1 minute they're there, next minute they're getting yanked a bit, but they are popping up around here, which would make sense. If you thought this thing was going to go higher, where would you want to buy? Probably the test of this if it does it. So that would make sense. You can see them there. They're around about 53. So maybe just below that top. In fact, if I was going to take a long here, I would want it to make that a bit bigger. I would want it to break below that bull bar. These orders there, they're around about 33, 53. And look where 53 is, one tick below that signal bar. So maybe this is going to have a break. I wouldn't be surprised. He's got those things on there again. Look, got rid of him yesterday. These little boxes with, I don't know, something on it. Okay, so there's those orders there. So we can get maybe a second entry here. I don't think that's would be a bad option to take a long there. Trouble is, as we're more or less bouncing in now, I don't know whether we'll get a second entry or whether the thing will just take off. But it's gone where I would expected, right below that bar there. So trouble is, with that flipping thing there, I can't see now whether there's an increase in more buyers and sellers. Once I start to make some more money out of these accounts, I will start buying it. So definitely orders up there. So my gut feeling is if we can bounce here, I think we're going to find the top there. So there are orders at 50, which is a little bit lower. But there are some at 52. So my guess is it may come down below, below that little bull bar there. It's only really a first entry, that bull bar anyway. Let's come down a bit. He's got rid of it good. So you can see at the moment, there's nearly double the amount of aggressive buyers there. You can see that imbalance, can't you? Which is pushing it up, hopefully. Yeah, so we're a tick away from that, aren't we? Tick away from that bearish bar. I just hope it comes back because there's no trade then, is there? Paolo, how you doing, buddy? New face, I think. I don't think I've seen you before. How you doing? Come on, pull back here. Which setup I'm after? Yeah, second entry long. I want to pull back a bit. It looks like it's going to work here. I want two little legs down and then some sort of entry to ride it up. You can see those orders on Bookmap here. So there are buyers at this level. There are buyers a bit lower. But if I was going to buy this, you kind of think around about here, wouldn't you? Having said that, the stronger ones are at 52, which is about here. So my gut feeling is it's going to break below there, which it obviously is. Now let's see if we get a bounce here. That would be nice, two legs. Unfortunately, that's inside bar. Can't do nothing. So we don't want to go along there with big orders below. We haven't got a setup here, so all I'm hoping is this does come down and touch here. Okay, so orders are at 50. A few more ticks, beautiful. Okay, now let's see what happens here. Now there is possibly a channel here, so this may come back into the range. See, as we've pushed up into it and we're rattling around it, my gut feeling is we push up. That's very tempting. That's very tempting. It's very tempting, that is. But I'm just sitting tight. As it's already triggered and starting to work down, I'm leaving it alone. But there are some buyers around about 47.5. I think this may go up. 47.5 is there, which is below there. I don't think that's a bad trade. I'm going to wait. There are orders around about 56, which is there. So there's plenty of space up. I think that will probably work. I was very tempted to hit the button there. Trouble is, it's come down a bit further than I was expecting it to. Very clear. Any trouble with something I didn't say or intend? Oh, don't worry about it, mate. I wouldn't be shocked if he was on drugs when he did it, to be honest with you, when he talked. No, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about that, lad. Well, he came over really paranoid, didn't he? So, what was that? I don't know what drug makes you paranoid. I don't know. So that, I say did work. Hasn't quite yet, but let's have a look. We've got a channel down. Bit on the fence as to what to do here. So whenever I'm like that, I just do nothing. They really informed him. He hasn't, mate. He's only joking. Don't worry. Speedy, how you doing, buddy? There's large orders there at 57 and above. So, which is about there. So for me, this is going to go up, I think. See if we get a higher low or something. We've had two legs down. I didn't want to take that because there was a few orders below. They weren't very strong, but I thought probably safer leave it. If you leave it and wait for the higher low, the chance of the trade working jumps dramatically. But you don't know what's going to happen. It's going to trigger you, come down and hit this. It came down a bit too far from me. So that's probably going to trap some shorts there. So that will be a higher low. Let me have a look. Right, I'm doing nothing here, and I'll tell you why, because there are strong orders at 47.5, which is there. But there are stronger orders further up. But I'm doing nothing here. One, because there's no room to the highs anyway, and two, the bar's massive and it ain't even finished yet. I think it probably will work up, but I don't really want to get into an 18. Well, it's 18 tick now. It ain't finished yet. There's just no room to the highs. Let's say you put it a tick above. I mean, what? There's 3/4 of a point. Take a quarter of a point off. There's half a point to the eyes. There's nothing you can do there. Do I think it's going to push up? Probably. I just don't want to get involved. I don't think it's a bad trade. It's right at the EMA. It's dropped below the EMA, pushed up really strong, but I'm just sitting tight. See those orders at 50. So there's orders above, orders below. Now, what's price doing at the moment? Is it going sideways? It may be. My gut feeling after that big move up, it's probably going to break above there, but there's 3/4 of a point to the high, so there's nothing I can do. So there's always that possibility we do something like this and it breaks below and comes down and touches this. In other words, we have two bigger legs. So I'm just sitting tight here. My gut feeling is it's probably going to push above here. But because there's a bunch of big orders at 50, it may come down first, clear out this. So I'm just sitting tight. Yeah. I think he heard someone laughing. It was me. I wasn't laughing at him. My wife came and showed me a picture on a phone, but I laughed and he went, Who's that effing laughing? So he's obviously a little bit paranoid. But as I say, you know, people are like they are for certain reasons. You don't know what he's had a bad day or what, but I wouldn't hold it against him. I found it quite entertaining, but I definitely think he's got some useful things to learn. So I'd certainly watch him just to see, you know, anybody that comes into this trading space that I hear good things about. I think they're worth at least paying attention to and seeing what they've got to say. You know, it may come over quite different and surprise you. He's now claiming he got 1,000 people waiting on his list to pay his monthly subscription. FOMO. In fact, I've got his thing here. Yeah, he's still swearing a bit. Marco seems to rate him, and Marco's a guy I like and trust. So it's definitely worth listening to, just to see what he's got to say. It'd be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure he did say he was going to trade. Did he trade live on Fridays? He's not going to say what he does, apparently, but he's going to trade live. I mean, if someone's getting an order ready, you pretty much know what they're going to do anyway. But Marco, yeah, Marco's a nice bloke. I've always liked Marco. He's helped me from 4.5 years ago when I came into this style of trading, and when I sort of join his website. He's always helped me. He's he's a nice, humble guy. He's a quiet guy. So yeah, it's people like that you want to pay attention to. You know, the newer traders coming in, people like him and people like Dan. They're all a nice bunch of people. In fact, I don't think I've ever had any bad experiences with the Facebook group. Everyone's friendly. They all want to learn. Everyone wants to learn and, have a better life. See those strong orders down there? They're a little bit below 50 now. They are around about there. Funny enough, where's there? Right below there. So if you took that bar there, if you thought, I'm not taking this, I'll take that one, it triggered you, came down and stopped you out. So Is this going to push up now or is this going to push down below here? The issue I have in taking a trade like that is when I've got orders above and strong orders below, there's that little battle goes on. And the people that make the difference there are the aggressive buyers and sellers. I can see where the passive orders are that act like magnets, but it's really the aggressive buyers and sellers. So you can clearly see we're finding some resistance here. So that may encourage. There we go. So we've got aggressive sellers there. You can see there's nearly double the amount of aggressive sellers. So if you took that trade there, it just stopped you out. So, I find more and more trades to stay out of. And when I stay out of them, that happens, which tells me, I'm learning. I'm learning where to stay out of, where's risky. And since I've started watching this now, at the moment, what did I say about this? It could go sideways, and it's exactly what's going on because you can clearly see there's a bunch of sellers and a bunch of buyers evenly spaced above and below, which is kind of creating the market to kind of rattle up and down, which is giving this kind of sideways stuff. So the trouble is, this is constantly changing, so you've got to kind of keep your eye on it. But if you look where price is in the middle, there's buyers and sellers at both ends, really, aren't they? So it could go up or down, really. But what I will say is I like the way we came in. We didn't quite get to the middle line, so maybe this is a break, new high, 2 attempts to push lower, and then we move up. I'm still favouring this thing going up, so 2 legs back. I wonder if we get a reaction here. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing pushes up again. This, for me, could be a correction. But while we got those orders down there at 45-ish, about here, I would have to stay out of something like this. Now, it may just tear off, who knows. Look back on a 2000 tick chart, yeah. You can swap and change your charts all day. I've tried trading the 3000, the 4000, something else. You can get a good setup on one and not so good on the other. Do you know what I mean? It's another thing that Vlad does the CL chart as well. I've had a go at trading that in the past. The only trouble is I found I was either focusing on one or focusing on the other. So it kind of didn't give me anything extra because I was only looking at the one chart or paying more attention to the one chart anyway. But I know Marco mentioned that to me maybe a year and a half ago. He'd started trading the CL chart. But what I will say is if this is crap and it's slow and going nowhere, then that might be an idea to then focus on something else. So if you don't think you're going to get nothing on here, then in fact, let's have a look at it. Differences with a CL chart is it rolls over every month, and he trades it on the 500 tick chart as well. 11th. That might be the 12th. I may get no data here. Yeah. So I should get something now. Here we are, loading. Yeah. I know last time I started to have a look at it again, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting no data coming up, and then someone reminded me it rolls over monthly. Why am I not getting anything? It's saying loading a minute ago. Maybe it does still do the 11th. Let's try on the 11th again. Hold on a minute. Something doesn't like something. I don't know why that's doing that. So we've had this move up. We've had 2 bounces. My guess is this may push up. See, someone I know is looking at that. It's possible. Trouble is, if it is that, it's a two-tiered channel, and if we're in this bottom tier, 2 legs back, pushes up, so maybe. Now, I know I mentioned earlier about not paying attention too much to the bigger stuff because you're waiting for it, but it is at the bottom, so that may push up. It's a little bit weak and it's slow, but if it gets above this, it may have a little bit more momentum. But at the moment, you can't really trade anything here, so maybe it's like that. Let's just get that out of the way. So I can get rid of that now. So trouble is, I've done this before, thinking, yeah, we're going longer, but what we are definitely getting is 1, 2, 3, 4. We're finding resistance here. Now, I can clearly see we've got 820 odd contracts for sale at 860, which is there. So I would be surprised if that doesn't get hit, but we are struggling to get above. So you don't know whether sellers are just going to start getting aggressive, which they are. Look, 4 million odd or 4 million odd, 3 million odd. So sellers are trying to push this down. We are finding some support, but that is going to play a part because there's over 800 contracts for sale there. So I would have said it's still likely to push up. There is possible second entry long there, but it is congested, so I would leave that alone. It's just a little bit swinging, isn't it? It's just a bit unclear, really. So I'm going to get rid of this bigger channel just at the moment. You went short, did you? See, I'm not sure at the moment because the overall has more of a kind of a bullish edge to it. Having said that, I did just mention we are finding some support. But the trouble is I can see big orders up here, so that's what's concerning me, that this thing's going to push up. I don't think that's any good anyway, so I think if anything we are going sideways at the moment. So yeah, you may be right. That's what I mean. You could argue it's a triple test. It's certainly working. But for me at the moment, it's just a bit unclear whether this thing wants to go up or whether it's just going to end up being a big ass range day. It's hard to say. Quad test, yeah, I know what you're saying. That's one thing sometimes Bookmap can make you a bit paranoid. Now, although there are big orders up here, there's no guarantees they will get there. As I mentioned, if enough sellers like this area to sell and they sell aggressively, they'll overtake these passive orders. So if I'm not sure, I'll just stay out of it. So now we're starting to get some sellers around about the 52, which is down here. So if this thing pulls back here, sellers, there are some sellers thinking this is now going to come down, and it certainly could do. But the answer is I'm just really not sure. It's just a bit unclear about where things are going. There's still that possibility of a bigger kind of a range, isn't there? In fact, I think that's probably about as good as I've got at the moment. Yeah, I like that. I like it for a range. That's quite a steep push move down, so I will be surprised if that bounces. It may pull back temporarily, but I think that push below there, because that to me is just one channel straight down. Sellers here, 46-ish. Maybe trying to catch the pullback before it pushes down, if that's what they're thinking. At the moment, I'm on the fence. I know it's bounced a bunch of times here, so until it breaks through, There's not much I can do here. So those orders around about six and a quarter-ish, 6.5-ish, somewhere about there. It doesn't look like it's going to. So I would never take that bull bar there because it's right in the middle of a downtrend. And what happens? It goes up maybe a 1.5 and then reverses, stops out. So channel break. Channel's had a break now and made a new low. I'm still not waiting to go, ready to go long at the moment because I don't know when it's going to continue down. So there are sellers around about the 46. Sellers there at 46. So if we get two little legs up, this thing may come down. It's hard to say though because we've bounced here. We've had a breakout. It's immediately pushed back in, and now we're testing. So is it going to ride up? I don't know. I can see their orders up at 60 up here, but is it going to get up there? It's so hard to say. So there's a second entry short there, which I wouldn't take too far from the EMA. So I still favour this to get to there. So I was kind of hoping we get a bull bar there as a possible failure, trapping the short, but we haven't. I'm just not sure what I think's going on at the moment. I would expect another leg before we get another big leg like that. I would expect another leg up. Orders at 42. I would expect it to push above there. So leg and a leg. We got orders down at 30. I'm just not sure at the moment. I would like to see another test of this. Okay, so we've got Mac's chart here. Let's put that there. So he's got that. And pretty much that's the only difference, really. He's got a wider channel. It's irrelevant anyway. We've had a break at a new high. So it doesn't really show us much, does it? So there's a second entry long there. Are we going to trap the longs? Or is this thing coming back into the range? Hard to say. Just can't take a short there because it's too far from there. It's risky. So there are orders there around about the 42, which is there. So I couldn't take that short there with those. For me, it would have to come up and test this area. So that would be either testing the bottom of this, hitting the EMA, and maybe picking up those short orders. Maybe suckering these buyers. As I say, I wouldn't expect a second leg to push right down there. I'd like to see something a bit wider. It'd be a bit too steep, that, I think. So still orders at 45, which is there. And so tempting, that is. Trouble is, it's bloody massive. It ain't finished yet. Yeah, I'm just sitting tight, I am. So orders there, 43, 44, about there. It's a bit too far from that EMA for me. I would want this touch in there. Now, it may work, but I'm just sitting tight here because I just have a bad feeling. Just under 45, which is about, let's say, there. So all of a sudden, that second entry short isn't looking so rosy now, is it? I can see the temptation to take it, and that will trap traders. I'm sure of it. But look what happens. Trigger just stops you out. It's just too far for the EMA there for safety. So that would need to be snug there, to be honest with you. So these orders now are moving up a touch. Now, is that sucking price up? Who knows? So let's say about here. So this would be a move down, looking for two legs up. Then I'd like to see strong rejection. But we've had a break out the top. We often get a break out the bottom. So that's what that might be. It may just be pushing up. But as long as we've got strong orders up here, I would be inclined to not short until I can figure out what's going on here. It may well be pushing back in. There is a second entry short there, which is triggered. But I got mixed feelings about this. I can see there's a bunch of orders down here, quite strong orders down here, around about 33. Which, funnily enough, is right below the lows. Now, you can bet there's going to be bulls trap there and bulls trap there. But it's just something I don't like about this. You may argue 1, 2, 3 triple test, but I'm sitting tight here. I just don't like this picture. It's a little congested, in fairness. So taking that, you're shorting right into the midline there. So it may pop up on you. I was going to take a short, really. I think it would have to be there, push down, 1, 2, 3. And I would like to get these orders out the way at about 43. They're constantly changing. Let's say about just under 44 and a half. Somewhere around about there. Could get caught out here. So those big orders at 60, which were up here, they've been tugged. They've gone. So I think sellers up here thinking this thing uh, is on its way doing something else. So maybe there's something like this. Doesn't look terrible. It's only a possibility, so don't go thinking that looks right. It's hard to say at the moment. This thing could pull back into the range, or it could clear the tops, pick up these sell orders and drop. Who knows? These sell orders are constantly changing. They're around about the midline now, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, so far it's still relative. How long are we going for? Just over an hour, so it's still relatively earlier. So those orders are creeping up and up and up. 50 now. So that's the trouble. When you get a break out the top, we almost always get one the opposite end. So sometimes you never know whether it's going to break, test the bottom and move down, or push back up into the range. Uh, See, it's a shame that failure. Now, I know some people say they don't pay attention to the failure, but triggered it very nearly came back and stopped him, stopped that bar out. I think that was probably the slightly better one. If that had been a really strong bearish bar, then I don't think that would have been bad, but it did work. Okay, so those orders picked up just above 55 now, which is here. So certainly testing this area. Excuse me just a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a second. So, channel break new high. We know there's orders up here. But they're a little bit higher now. Say about 8, which is there. Funnily enough, where is that? Above all this. So if you wanted to short it, where would be the best place to short it as it picks up all that liquidity? You're definitely going to have liquidity there. Triple test, bearish bar. So if it gets above there, as soon as it ticks above there, it's more likely going to push straight to that level. But they're moving slightly. I'll leave it there anyway because I know it's a tick, maybe 2, right above that level. Nice big strong bullish bar. See if we get a bearish bar here. See this so many times, it will trigger and then push up. Having said that, we are getting orders around about the 48. I still think it'd trigger push up, but we have got orders here below that bar. But my guess is it's going to trigger and just push up. Around about 48, which is a bit lower. Sorry. With all that liquidity there, I would never be short in there. I used to, and then I'd get stopped out day after day. It's just too early. It's right in the middle of all this congestion stuff. This is aiming towards this, really. It's kind of easy bit of liquidity, that. But, I did think it may come back first because of those orders. But I don't think it will. There are some 50 there, below there, but we'll see. So if you ever say that and you want to go short, always wait for the lower high, especially if you've got liquidity here. But look what happens here. It literally triggers you for a tick, pushes you straight up, stops you out. It's infuriating. It used to happen to me all the time. I'm wise to it now. You learn, the more you get stung, the more you learn. See what I mean? As soon as it hit that, it's going to push straight up there. So triple tick, you can say there's going to be a bunch of stops there without a doubt. And as soon as it hit this, boom, 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 straight through them all, straight up to that level. So I did say as soon as that happened, we get a bearish bar, it'll trigger push up. You get used to seeing it. You get used to seeing vulnerable entries where traders like myself would have been 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever. And you get used to seeing what to expect. But it does then you start to think, I'm starting to understand what's going on, and it does, build your overall broad knowledge and understanding of how these, is that shut down? How these, charts work and how these areas liquidity work. But it's infuriating when you see that. What it used to be. So I wouldn't go short here or long here at the moment. I'm still not super sure what I think's going on. We've got strong orders around about the 52, which is there, so it may come back temporarily. But then we've got orders at 60 and 62, 63. So, say sort of, let's say 62 to 63, somewhere around about there. Yeah, so there are sellers and thereabouts. this kind of area. So you just nothing I could do at the moment. I think once it starts to go up and maybe comes back and retests this top, that's, I think, whether we'll find out if this thing's going to push up. But I can't see it pushing up at that rate anyway. For me, it would likely end up something like that. I would have suggested. It's actually kind of working more or less right there, isn't it? So I would expect this thing to start to come sideways now and retest this top. And if it retests this top, it may confirm a larger channel there. Clearly above all this now, see, but you can see those orders. They're around about 53, which is there, which is right here, where you'd expect. If you thought there was a bigger channel here, this is kind of where you would be looking to get in, right, kind of that cross section. Might be a bit bigger than 3, actually. It's probably more like 3 3/4 or 4. And where is that? Right at the top here, right where that line is. So my guess is this is going to kind of either go sideways, drop out, and then push up, or work its way down, unless we get aggressive buys. You can see that little tunnel that they're kind of working in. So as we got buyers evenly below and sellers evenly above, it may actually push straight up, which is looking like it's doing. They're quite evenly spaced, these buyers and sellers, which is creating this little tunnel, which is prices kind of sliding through. But there's nothing you could do there. There is a few sellers here. So that's why I like marking these. I don't know how many times I mark these and they get exactly where I think they're going to get to. So it just goes to show Bookmap is giving me a really good idea where price is going. So if I happen to get into a trade and Bookmap is showing me where I get in, price is likely to go up, it just gives you that extra little bit of confirmation and maybe the confidence to hold on a bit and try and grab a few more points out of a trade. So I put that area there. What happened? We went up and touched it and started pulling back. Now we can see their orders here. I'd say they're maybe 3 3/4, which is right where that is. Right this top. You can see we bounced twice on it there, and you can see it played a part there. Kind of pushed up to it a couple of times. It's surprising how these little bits and pieces play a part, but my gut is we'd have a couple of legs down, maybe confirm this bigger channel, and then push up for a second leg. Now there's no guarantees, but we've had quite a strong move out, and if we can get a nice 2 legs down, we may get something. Yeah, I mean, if we can get something really strong off that EMA, off that top, super strong. If I get a good enough setup, then I will move my profit up and try and follow it with my stop and try and get maybe, well, who knows, a little bit more. So at the moment, yours are at 63. So there's my kind of top line. So if we can get in off the bottom, there's a potential 10 points there, or even 6 points or 9 points. Maybe I can get 2 or 3 times what I normally get. But for me to have the confidence to do that, it would have to be an absolute blinder of a setup. Yeah, Thomas Way's just posted that. So he's kind of thinking along the same lines. So it's good to have these other charts with other traders because the more people thinking along those lines, the more chance these trades are going to work in, really. If you get a really nice trade and you get loads of traders that buy, I mean, that cross section where there's been kind of support and the EMA that are coming all into place could possibly give you the kind of perfect storm for going long. Let's see if it works. But we got 3 little bars here, a couple that way, and then 3 more down will be fantastic. come down. Come on, I needed to eat these orders here. You dare just go up. The higher these orders, the better. Because if we can get something, we've got a nice big distance. Come on, drop down. I wouldn't have taken a trade there. That may trap some buyers. There's a couple of bull bars here that may trap buyers that are too far off there. So leg down, slight move up, trapping longs, and then woof down for a second leg, clear all those long stops out, and then hopefully an entry. Just needs to get a bit of weakness now. Yeah, it's still holding, isn't it? Which is a little annoying. Those orders now, see those buy orders, they're a little bit higher now because people are saying, oh, I'm going to have to move my order up. So maybe 56-ish. And not only that, you see that EMA is going up as well. So anywhere around here, if that EMA comes into this area, bottom of a channel up would be great. But it's if it gets above there, it's going to get easier to move up. Jan, how you doing, my friend? Just need this to get a bit of weakness. Let's just open up an order.
Order
just in
submitted.
Case it does get down. It may do. Down, come down. About 56 these orders are. You can see a chunk of them, 300 odd contracts. Come on, drop. So, second leg would get us right to them orders. Look at that. Right to the tick. So we're going to pick off some early entries here. So if you went longs here, there's bound to be traders going longs here. This is going a bit sideways. It's just weak. It may hold, but my guess is it's probably going to come down, trigger below a few, which then may hit those buyers. You can see them. In fact, they're at 55. They're a little bit lower now. So leg and a leg. It's trying to hold. If it gets above there, I think it's probably game over. Come on.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to come right down here and give us something absolutely beautiful. But as it's creeping higher and higher, okay, that's a little better. Let's see what happens here. It's just getting a little bit too erratic for me. I don't think that's bad.
Order submitted.
couple of ticks up than I should have been there. But I like the setup. That was slightly impulsive of me, that was. Could sting me, that. I was too impulsive there. We'll see. I only have one trade a day, so if this doesn't work, mind you, I might get out here.
Order filled.
Am I out? Yeah, I'm out. It's probably going to go on to work, but now. But you just bear me a second. Should have just left it, actually. Disconnect. Bear me a second. It's flicking around a bit too much. That's why I got spooked. There you go. I should have just had the confidence to leave it. It's 2 nice legs down. It's a nice trade, actually. I should have just left it. Oh, well, what can you do? Should have just left it. I got spooked by that flicking around and the fact that I got in a little bit too risky. I should have just left it. It's okay. It happens sometimes. You get spooked for one reason or another. Would it have given me points? I should have just left it, but there you go. Fact, I was in way too high. I was in about 3 ticks higher than I should have done. I wouldn't be out yet. Now I would. So I should have just left it. It was a nice setup, actually. I just got spooked because I got in a little bit later than I should. Where did I get in? Yeah. So I should have got in there, and I was in there. So I was in, let's have a look, 2, possibly 3 ticks higher. Yeah, I was in 3 ticks higher than I should have done. And that spooked me a little bit. You entered high, yeah. Do you know, sometimes when you get a good setup, it often just takes off. That's why sometimes I just go for the buy button. But there was enough time and it did come back. But it happens sometimes. Yeah, I got in 3 ticks high. It happens sometimes, but that spooked me a little bit. But it's a nice setup. It was doing everything that I expected, so I should have just had the confidence just to leave it, really. It was only a $200 risk, even with that bigger risk than I should have done, but it would have gone on to win. So instead of being up about $170, I could have been up $3,000. But what can you do? What can you do? There's no point in moping about it. I just have to get on with it. So next time I should have just left it. There you go. One of them things. Well done if it worked for you, if you took it. But, you know, look what happened. We touched. It came down nice. We had 2 clear legs down. We had that quick flush down that I was expecting it. Why didn't I just leave it? I was reading the market perfectly well. I could understand what's going on, but those 3 extra ticks jumping in a little bit impulsively. Let me just check. I can still take another trade.
Order submitted.
Yeah,
Order
just
canceled.
getting in a bit too impulsively. Yeah, it was a nice trade. Trouble is, this is the first time for a long time I'm trading 20 accounts, so I've got a lot of money on the game here. If I lost that trade, I'd have lost $4,000. So it was a really nice setup. I should have just had the confidence just to leave it. In fact, wasn't I just saying a while ago, if we get something really nice, then perhaps I should hold on? I've got a good feeling this is going to go on and on. So 65 at least. So I could have got double. Let's say, I think it's fair to say I could have got 6 points out of that. Maybe more, maybe a lot more, but what can you do? It's done, isn't it? That Rolex. I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you to that, bud. But yeah, it's one of those things. You know, sometimes I traded that a bit impulsively. It wasn't very well controlled, and that's fine. It was a quick move. It was an impulsive move, and sometimes that rattles you a bit, and you think, "Have I made the right decision?" So whenever you get that quick flicker around, it can mess with your head a little bit. And I took what I deem a safer option to get out. Now, I got out. I say break even. I got a tick out of it. after say after I'll show you, it's easier. After all of it, I ended up with 8 ticks. I think it was, sorry, 8 ticks, $8, which is $170. So it could have been looking a lot nicer, but that's okay. It wasn't a loss. It wasn't really a win either, to be honest with you. If I get out for break even, a tick above, tick below, I don't even mark it. In fact, no, I probably should actually mark it down as a. See, the trouble is, there's me talking about possibly holding it for a little bit further. If I'd have held it to get up a bit higher, I'd have given back all. So I think sometimes you're best off just to take your profit. But it's one of those things, isn't it? You learn from it. But it was really clear, to be honest with you, and I should have just had the confidence. But because it was flickering around a little bit too much, you have those, I don't know. It's one of those things, and I should have just left it. But there you go. You learn, don't you? It wasn't a loss. It was a good decision. It wasn't a great decision to get out, but the trade was good, and it went on to work. And I'm pretty sure quite a few people would have taken that. So a couple of people took it anyway. He took it. Thomas Wade took it. I'd expect Thomas Wade to take it. In fact, he's got that as a break, which is unusual. Yeah, he's got that as a break. It's quite different than mine. Mine's just cutting off that bar off. So I've gone from there. Let's have a look. So right from the tip there, we're touching nice there. It's fitting nice there. I think it's fair to say. Yeah, it fits nice. 2 legs back. We pushed up, made a new high, and then we've had the break. So I still think that is within that channel, personally. Yeah, I should have just left it, but that's okay. Trouble is, I've been trading 5 years now. I consider myself as an intermediate trader. So I've been trading long enough now to make money, but I'm not a long-term persistent trader. This is the first year that I've actually made profit. I made a little bit of profit last year, but not much. But I think I'd say, was it just 13,000 something in fees? So realistically, I'm ending up 40,000 in profit this year, which is not a huge amount, but it's profitable nonetheless. So if there is a break there and a new high, be interesting here. So it's profitable nonetheless, and I think it's more important to be profitable rather than, kind of amount. So this is a better year for me. So I would, how can we join this score of Thomas Wade? I think there's something in the description, but if you go on to Thomas, it's called Wade Trading Academy online. You can join that way. He's a really nice guy, Thomas, and he's good at what he does. So I would absolutely endorse him for sure. Check on my video here that there isn't something in the description. I think there may be. Let me just have a look. Now, he offered me an affiliate for this, and I said, no, I didn't want your money. I'm happy to help you. Because he was good enough to say to me, do I want to become part of the Discord? And he wouldn't charge me. I thought that was decent of him. So he said, do you want to become an affiliate? And I said, no. If anybody comes your way, I'm happy to help. I kind of think it's a good idea if someone helps you to help them back. Let me have a look. But yeah, he's a nice guy. Anybody I put on here, him and Dan, I think are decent people. So, uh, oh no, I haven't got it in the Discord. The description. I'm gonna have to put it in the description. But yeah, if you put in just Wage Trade Academy. Yeah, there we go. There's the guy there. So if you join there, he will then send you a link to the to his Discord. But he's a nice guy. He's been trading. I think he's been trading 10 or 12 years now. But it takes a couple of trades a day on average. But he trades up to 10 contract now, so he's a good guy. That was a great failed second entry long and about there. Yeah, so for me, I'm on the fence as to whether we've had a break here, in which case we may do that. So for me, no, but if you'd have said you've got a break here new high, you're probably going to trap some traders there. So that would be the case. But I've actually gone from there off this first swing, and if I keep the top quite tight, it fits nice, I think. So, mind you, it's showing a small break there. So I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I had it kind of like this, I think. But if you look, perfect touch, perfect touch. So it's one of those things, isn't it? It does look like it's reversing anyway. So yeah, that's kind of why I did that, because the tots. But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's not an exact science. I mean, we touched here, we bounced right on there. So ordinarily, that first kind of swing, that's where you would go with. So you can adjust that either way. You know, some of your charts on some of your charts may look like that, some may not. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? So if you had taken that and you'd have had a run at, you'd have been doing well there, wouldn't you? 15 points gone, you mate. Yeah, it is trading more like a range. Trouble is, it's just it's not my gut feeling when we had that we were going to push up for a second leg, but you just don't know, do you? So I kind of like that. Can you see their orders at 45-ish? So if we can get a pull back to that level there, touch above 45. So if we can get two legs up, I wouldn't mind shorting that, because I think it's fair to say we're probably going to. You've got a higher low and a failure all over there. You've got some bull bars there, so there's definitely some liquidity there. Once you get below there, in fact, we have a touch. We've bounced there, so I think if we can get two legs up, I think there's a fair. It's maybe a little bit higher. maybe there. If we can get a couple of legs up, maybe a break, I wouldn't mind having to go short there. Trouble is, it is kind of a range, but if you look, it's getting like that. Now, I never draw these types of things, to be honest with you, but if you look at it, it's doing that. Now, I don't know if you're a pattern trader. I don't know what do you call that? Is it likely to come down the bottom? I don't know. I have seen people drawing channels like that, but for the life of me, I don't know. Is that the type of thing that ends up rocketing up or what? I got no idea. But it does seem to be doing something like that, doesn't it? So I'm looking for a couple of legs up. Expanding triangle. Where do they usually go, mate? Up or down? So this is looking okay. So we got a little micro with a break. We need to get up here to these sellers, really. These sellers at 47.5, which is a bit high for me. I'm hoping they come down a bit lower. I don't think that's a terrible trade. But I'm leaving it. Those orders, they're not super strong, but there's enough of them to make me worried. And that's a 17 tick bar. Looks crap on here anyway. So my gut feeling is that's going to go higher. It hasn't triggered anyway, so I don't think it's trapped anyone unless people thought, yeah, let's sell it now. And so this is what I'd be targeting. Sellers here. They're a little bit below there now, so I'm hoping they come down a bit more. So 7.25. I would prefer them about here. But there we go. Now, even if you've got this channel drawn like this, tighter, we've still got the break. So however you got it, I don't really think it matters too much. But these orders, strong orders here, there's 340 contracts here at 47.50. That's a bit high for me for this thing to go up. It's not a huge channel. That didn't trigger. There is a lower high there, and it may come down. I'm just a bit nervous about this purely because these orders up here. What I will say, now it may come down. It's irrelevant anyway. I'm not in it. But that is a little bit of congestion, and it may just have a quick push up. You can have shorts in there, I don't doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Wade took that. That's his type of trade, I think. Yeah, he's looking at the double trap. He may take the lower high, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he took that. It certainly worked for whatever he goes for, I think, which is, I think he goes for 2 points to 10 ticks, I think. It's a bit congested for me, though. Something about it I don't like. It's irrelevant. It's worked anyway. But those orders up here, they're not as strong as they were, but they were still worrying me. And we came down anyway. Sometimes it's just the market does what the market does. Why did Trent treat it as two-legged correction? Yeah, this is a bit too congested for me. If you look on the left side, it looks awful. It doesn't look much better here. Yeah, we've kind of got two legs up in the bullish bar, which didn't trigger. And then we're going sideways. Now, it did find its way down, but I don't like this. This is not a clear setup. I try and take good quality, clear setups, and if I take them, they rarely fail. And I think this is just a little bit too unclear for me. It's a little bit too choppy and a little bit congested. So for that reason, I kind of left it. But that's okay. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, leaving a trade. Orders at 45, just a bit above. Sellers there. Buyers about 34, which is below here. Is this 2 legs up? I don't know. I'm just super wrapped at the moment. So we get a little channel that immediately pushes up and then drops. Woof. Yeah, I didn't expect that. That was a really nice tight channel there. It had a break and it immediately reversed. Join the academy if we want to. Yeah, you do. I think he charges $100 for 3 months, I think, which is about $33 a month, something like that. And yeah, you can watch all his videos and join his Discord. Or there's Dan's as well. Dan charges $25 to join his Discord. Dan, same again, another nice guy, very good at what he does. So there's that option as well. Or you've got this new guy, Vladdy, who's you don't pay at the moment, but he's charging $50 a month. So there's a bunch of different options, to be honest with you. I don't know a huge amount about Vladdy anyway, but I do know Thomas Wade. I spoke to him half a dozen times. He's a really nice guy, so I don't think you're going to go far wrong. And Dan as well, another guy, very good at what he does. He's helped me plenty. So you've got options there. But if you've not done price action at all, I would suggest you join Mac's Mac's website. It's $100 per year. So if you're learning price action, in my opinion, I would probably start with Mac. As I say, $100 per year. He's an absolute gentleman, very good at what he does. There are a few things that I disagree with that he does, but that's more on going for profit. But as a recommendation to learn trading, absolutely, I wouldn't think twice. He's a gentleman, and charging someone $100 a year, I feel like I'm robbing him, to be honest with you. So if you want to learn price action, my honest opinion, I would probably start with Mac. And then maybe, I mean, you can start with Mac and then join one of the Discords and kind of practice your craft and chat with other traders. So, yeah, if you're new to price action, I would definitely start with Mac. Otherwise, you kind of may get a little bit bogged down by it all. But Mac's got dozens of videos. He explains things really well. And that's what I would personally do. I got no idea what's going on here. This thing is constantly changing, isn't it? Starts off like a range. You have a break above, break below, and it's a bit of an odd day, isn't it? I think it's more likely going to turn into just an overall range day, I think. Not the easiest. There's one or two I did take that. I got out for a tick. I should have left it. It didn't push up as strong as I was expecting. But as far as 2 legs down, went up a little bit further than I expected, but it's still a clear 2 legs. So I don't think you're going to go wrong with taking that. But I got out of it for a tick anyway. I got spooked. That moved down really quicker than I expected. I was expecting it to come down, but not quite that quick. And I have been trading this Prodigy strategy for 3 years. Yeah. See, what I'll say to you is, so you've been trading a strategy for 3 years. I do come across people who at some point will look at another strategy. I've done it myself a little bit. And what I would suggest, people think if they've been trading a strategy for 2 or 3 years and they can't make it money, then it's down to the strategy. I would say not really. Most strategies will work. It's down to the individual, and it's learning. You know, it's like you can't just give a hammer and nails to a guy and call him a carpenter. You know what I mean? You've got to use the tools and really get to know them well. And that's the same with trading. You've got to use a strat, and all the strategies, as we know, is just a set of rules for where I get in and out of a trade. But it's so much down to the context of that's the key. The strategy is relatively straightforward, but it's getting in at the right time, really, and the right direction. That's the hard bit. So I wouldn't necessarily, because what I wouldn't want you to do was to spend 3 years and then completely walk away and start new trading something different. You know what I mean? I would want you. So the reason I'm saying that is because I think don't just dismiss it if you're finding it hard to make money. My guess is it's going to be down to just the time it takes, you know, the psychological side, all the other little bits and pieces that come together. So, you know, I wouldn't just stop it completely. I don't think it hurts to learn a few other things, but I wouldn't all of a sudden, you know, shut one down completely and move to something else. You know, I've had my doubts about what I'm doing at times, but you know, when I think about price action and when you get a good clear setup, it really does work. But as I say, like any strategy, a strategy is just a small part of it. Applying it at the right time, that's where the real kind of skill comes in, and that just comes with time and learning to deal with all the other little bits and pieces. You did, yeah. I'm not saying it won't. You know, there's reasons to move to something different. I'm not saying it won't work. What I'm saying is don't just, you know, throw it away. See, you saying that you did Pats for 2 years, Karina. I've been doing Pats for 4.5 years, and I'm now just starting to feel comfortable. So it may be the fact that you just didn't give it long enough. But if you've moved on to something else and you're making that work, then you know that's okay. That can happen as well. You know, Pats may be down to maybe it's too, you know, quite fast moving and it's quite stressful, and maybe you want to slow something down. So that might be, you know, a lot of people trade the hourly or the 4 hourly. Things are a lot more calmer. You can put a trade in, walk away from the computer, whereas this, it's kind of in front of your face. You can see your money going up and down. If it's quite stressful. So if you're finding it stressful because it's fast moving and you want something a bit quieter, then I'd say, yeah, that's probably a reason to kind of look for something. But you can trade Pats on an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart or a 4 hourly chart. It works exactly the same. Obviously, the bars would be a little bit bigger, and you would have to sort of, you know, mitigate that maybe over a bunch of micros. So, you know, there are reasons to you know, to move and to change, but you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Some things work for some people. So what are we doing here? Is there something larger here? We got orders at about 34, which is there. And we've got orders around about 21, 22, which are around about, in fact, just below 20. So there, which are below the lows. There is a second entry, but that's an inside bar, so I wouldn't suggest that. I'm not super convinced this thing's definitely going to continue down. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But we've had a channel with a break. Had a good strong move. We are going a bit sideways here, so it may push up or it may continue down. I don't really know, to be honest with you. Yeah, so that trade there, Dan never took it. He said he wasn't confident in the uptrend. But you can clearly see it's 2 legs back, and it's quite strong off LEMA, so you'd expected it to work. I just got spooked by that quick movement and getting in probably 3 ticks later than I should have done. It would have worked, but there you go. So what was it, 26, which is about there. But it does look like it may be something else. Maybe. Doesn't look that bad to me. But what I will say is we're at the bottom, we're at the bottom, we're at the bottom. Struggling to get to the bottom there, so we're doing that. We're coming away. Whenever we do that, more often than not, we make a break of the channel. So as we're getting that, my gut feeling is we're going to make a break. Now, there are orders just under 30, which is about there, which is above this. So I would probably expect a break there. Now, that's if that channel's valid, of course. There's no guarantee it is. I wouldn't mind getting a second opinion there. Okay, so I wouldn't take this. It's only a first entry. My gut feeling is this is probably going to push higher up to here. So you can see those orders there, 325 contracts around about the 30. They do tend to move a little bit. So it may go above there. See, I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't looking at Bookmap. So, in fact, those orders are slowly getting pushed up. So they're around the 2.5, which I think that's a bit high. Mind you, the bigger the channel down, the bigger the break generally. We have still got quite strong orders down here. So same again, orders above, orders below. There's a bit of a tunnel here. So if we can get to this area, my gut feeling is this is probably going to work its way down. Lows, I always say it's my mistake. What I will say about price action is I know some strategies, they just say sometimes they just lose, sometimes they just don't work. But with price action, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's usually a reason, because price action is so damn accurate, it's unbelievable. But as I say, it's getting to read it. But Dan has told me he hasn't lost a trade for a year. Now, that doesn't sound like the type of strategy that says sometimes they just don't. Now, some people will say if there's a valid channel down here, they may just put a sell order here, put a stop up here. Not only do we wait for it to hit this level, but then we look for a strong bar with a certain two legs to look like it's continuing down. So we use price action for that. Some people who are trading ranges will just put a sell order here. And sometimes it'll work. And sometimes if it works, they may get a big move with a small stop. And if it, they only may work 50, 60% of the time. But if they're risking 2 points to make 8 or 3 points to make 6 or whatever the case may be, it's a winning strategy. So that type of setup, yeah, I get it. It can be a bit hit and miss. See how we've pushed up at that level there. In fact, it's a bit higher now. It's it when they push it up a bit. So they're trying to ride it up. It's about 6, isn't it now? It's about here. So same again, you got to use your kind of judgment here, haven't you? Let's say there's a channel there with a break and a new high. I'm giving this a bit of time. Now, my gut feeling, if I like the channel, I think there's a fair chance it could come down and test the lows. So, what I will say is where these orders are, they keep moving the damn things up. If you're listening to me, traders, stop moving them. It's going up and up and up, isn't it? I was just wondering, you can clearly see there's a little bit of support along there. Kind of bounce there, and bounce there. So whether we're kind of getting to this area, I don't know. I can't tell really. I don't know whether this thing's going to come up or whether we're going to get a little bit of sideways and down. I really don't know, to be honest with you. See how we're working this tunnel again? We've kind of got evenly spaced sellers and buyers up here, and that's creating that little kind of tunnel, which is, it happened over here, didn't it? Here. Same here. You could see those line of sellers up there and the line of buyers, and it was just, it's almost like it was creating a trend, really, wasn't it? Trend channel, you can see it. Trouble is, these things are going up and up and up. They're at about 40, 41 and a half, 42 at the moment. So they seem to be sucking price up. So I don't know. I'm going to have to adjust this in a minute, I think. Okay. That looks okay, mate. Yeah, so Thomas Wade has just posted that 3 minutes ago. So he's kind of got his eye on that as well. And Taylor has as well. So maybe it is. See, you could argue that there's your little channel. And there's your break. 2 pushes to a new high. We'll see what happens. If this thing still keeps going up at that kind of area, then I'll put that channel back. But about 38, 39. So those orders have come down a bit. They're around about there. So I don't know. If this is a break, perhaps it's pushing up, trapping that first lot who decide to go short there. I don't know, to be honest with you. Ben, how you doing, buddy? I'm okay, mate. How are you? I'm well. Excuse me. I might have to go and fill myself with caffeine in a minute. Those orders are coming a little bit lower now. 37 and a half. Right at the top of this. So is this thing coming down to test these lows? Hard to say. We've got quite an even amount. Where's this? This is around about 25 and a half maybe. So same again, we've got these sellers up in buyers, so that may create this little kind of sideways bit. Sideways? Sidewards? She's right. Sideways, sideways. Late to the charts today. Yeah, I was a bit late actually. I had to go into town to pick up some Christmas presents for someone. So I got back about 20 past 2. So usually I get to the charts about 1:30 UK time and kind of settle in and figure out what's going on and check and double check everything. So yeah, I was running a little bit late. So tempted. There's a bar in Shrewsbury. I'll have to take a photo of it. This looks like a giant bookshop. It's huge. There's books everywhere. And it's where Prince William used to go and have a drink on occasion when he was doing his pilot trading at RAF Shawbury, which is about 8 miles out of the town where I live. It's a beautiful bar, and they've got a massive selection of whiskey. I mean, there's 60, 70 bottles going up, proper expensive. And I walked past it, and I was so tempted to go in there and take the day off and just sink a few, but I behaved myself. I rarely do that now. I rarely take a day off from trading and just do something fun like that. But I remember years ago, I was self-employed, and I was driving from Shrewsbury to work. I was self-employed at the time. I was driving to a place called Stoke-on-Trent. You probably heard of it. It's about 40 miles. And I was halfway there, and my phone rang, and it was my mate. And I put him on speakerphone. And as I started going around the roundabout, he said, "We're going out on the beer." He said, "We're finishing early." He said, "You want to come?" And as I was getting round the roundabout, I just carried on going back round the roundabout. Ended up driving home and going. But sometimes it's nice when you're not expecting it, just to decide to go out and have a bit of a bender. So I was very tempted, but I was thinking of you poor guys sat here waiting. So I did the honourable thing and came home. But I'm going to have to do that over the next couple. I like doing that over Christmas when it gets cold. They got a massive big log fire in there. And it's got an amazing atmosphere. You go in there, it's like, there's a lovely little restaurant there. It's massive, big open torty, and there is bookshelves. There's that many books in there. You kind of come out feeling more intelligent than when you went in there. You'd have been mad. So it's a really nice place. Got bags of character, and it's right on the river. And as I say, they've got a fantastic selection of whiskies. I mean, you can go in there, drink a few whiskies, and spend £60. It's like that, it's like that. But for something now and again, it's great. So if this channel is valid, I would expect price to come down and test these the lows. So at the moment, the lowest obvious order I've got is around about 22, which is pull-in price. Now, on the other extreme, we've got orders around about here, which is pulling price up. So we're kind of in this little kind of area here where I don't know whether it's going up or coming down. Based on, if that's a valid channel, I'd say it's probably going to come down. But it depends on who's pulling the hardest, so, for want of a better word. So maybe a little channel with a break at a new low. It's hard to say, really. I would like to think price is going to come down, but it's not super clear. So unless I've got a clear signal where I'm going, I just have to kind of stay out. Very weird today. Consistent block orders. Yeah, they are. You don't often see these. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You've kind of, it's almost like having two magnets, isn't it? And you kind of wedge between the center of it. But yeah, you don't often see that, to be honest with you. It's a good point. It's weird, isn't it? How it's kind of rattling right between that, and that's kind of where that was, wasn't it? Now that's interesting. Big bearish bar down. You're probably trapping some longs there, but I don't know where this channel break new low, and I just don't know at the moment. It's not super clear, this. Could be something like that. I'm not super stoked on that either. You may think leg and leg, but I've done that before, and it pushes up for a second leg and then comes down. So I really don't know. Let's see if it looks any better on here. It probably does. So I would have to do that initially and say we've had a break and a new low. So we could have a leg up, pull back and a leg up, trap some shorts there and push up. So I'm just staying out of this at the moment. I still think that doesn't look terrible. There was a reason why we had a break. You can clearly see bounces on the bottom, and then it comes away. And whenever it does that, a lot of the times that's when you get a break. It's losing that momentum. So if that is valid, I fully expect this to come down. And the way it's looking, it probably will. But there's something I don't like about this, and it may sting some shorts before it comes down again. I don't know, but I don't like that. So I just have to kind of sit tight, really. There's a few people saying they're looking for a lower high. That's not really a lower high, in my opinion. We get a move down with a break. Unless they're talking about a lower high here, maybe. Trouble is, you could take a lower high and it may push up and test this area again, clear out liquidity here and here before it pushes down. And there are strong orders at around about 30. Lower now, 34 here. Let's have a look. It's moving a bit higher now, but it may push up and break above this. So there is a second entry long there. So let's see if that triggers. maybe 2 legs up and it may come down. Now it has triggered. Now is this going to come down? I wouldn't want to take a long there, that's for certain. Uh, so they're constantly moving them. They're a little bit above there. And around about the 25-ish, so below there, that's for certain. It's going higher, that is. 50, which is right above the top there. Trouble is, they're stronger up here than they are down there. Now, unless we get a massive sell-off, it's likely to push up. So I couldn't look at this as a channel down with a couple of attempts to push higher and trade it down, because this, to me, those orders are much stronger up here, and we are getting more aggressive buyers. If it was the other way around, then I'd say it's probably going to come down. So I can't see, based on what I'm seeing, strong aggressive buyers, strong orders at 40. Is this going to go up? You're looking for a lower high. I couldn't take one with these orders up here. Because this channel, if it is a channel, it has technically played out because we made a new low. Probably a little bit clear on here. I tend to probably put there. So with those orders up there that are a little bit stronger than the orders down there, my guess is it's probably going to hit this before it comes down. So we could have a leg up with a correction, another leg up. I don't know, to be honest with you. It's not super clear, is it? But can you see what's happening? You can see that's pushing up between there. We're starting to do the same thing, orders below, orders above. So it's a tough one, isn't it? But this makes a difference. Well, see how we're getting more sellers here, more aggressive sellers. So there is a mixed bag here. Oh, sorry, you said higher low. I thought you meant lower high for some reason, because I was thinking, sorry, my mistake. A lower high, yeah. Oh, sorry. No, you are thinking of short one, aren't you? My head's not in the game today. Hmm. Mind you, this is starting to become stronger now, isn't it? There's 300 on orders. There's only 200 there. So maybe this is coming down. But then things change. There's a load of orders that's just been dropped here. There's 352 and a bit above it. There's 302. Yeah, it's constantly changing, isn't it? So Taylor's in a long trade here. There is a higher low there. It's a bit unclear, this. Trying to break new low. There you go. You went long, did you? just started to look a little bit sideways for me. Uh, Somewhere like that. My concern was going along into the tops. Push down. Uh, yeah, that's if this is valid. There's always a possibility that it's just two legs, but it does look like a channel. I think most of the trailers that I can see have got it as a valid channel. So maybe it's just going to push up and clear and then drop. It's hard to say, really. Sometimes it doesn't make itself really clear until it's kind of already done its thing. We could have two legs up, but uh, yeah, my gut feeling, even if you change this as a sort of do it as a range, there's kind of two legs up in a bearish bar, but I couldn't bring myself to take that. Uh, it's just a tough one at the moment. It's not super clear. Okay, what time have we got? So I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break and make a cup of tea. Channels don't get that extreme. Yeah, it's a little bit sideways. After seeing something like this, more often than not, most of the time it will come down and test the lows. But what I will say is we have bounced and bounced. So there's no guarantees it will come down. If there's enough buyers that kind of want to buy the price down here and for a ride up, then they'll do it. But this, yeah, it was mentioned earlier, they're in little blocksies. It's just weird, isn't it? But what I will say is it's going up quite steady there. It's almost going a little bit sideways now with a slightly bullish imbalance, I'd say. But that's why I would find it hard to go short here at the moment, because it does seem that it's slowly kind of working up. But some days we have days where it's super clear, other days it's just not. Other days, when you look at the chart later in the day, when it's all played out, things become a lot clearer. But in real time, when you're looking at each individual bar, one bar at a time, the decisions aren't always clear. So I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back with you. Uh, hmm, who knows? Is if you look on bookmap, it's moving very, very evenly through this passage. And we'll get every time we kind of get to the middle, it kind of so it's kind of doing this, isn't it? So you'd expect it to. Now we're right in the middle of price now. So is it going to bounce? Hard to say, isn't it? No, I'm just I'm just contemplating. I'm just thinking about this channel down. This moved down. Are we making 3 attempts to push up and eventually this thing is going to push down? I was just thinking, how would I feel if we had a channel break and a new low and we had a strong bull bar off here? Would you say that's triple test 1, 2, 3? It's more like a quadruple test. Now, I know a lot of the times price will push up into a channel, into a range, and then push out the top. So sometimes we'll push up and bounce multiple times and push up. But then I'm still thinking about this. This moved down, we've pushed up, we've made a few attempts to go higher, then maybe this is going to come down. So I'm a little bit on the fence. I like to try and trade the range, if I do, in the direction of where I think price is obviously going. So if I think it's going up, I'd trade off the bottom. But I'm just not sure how I feel about if we had 2 legs down and we've got a bull bar here. Kind of see it, and I'm looking. That's why I kind of move that. You see these orders a little bit above 25. Let's say there, which is below there. So if we have a bull bar, it may trigger your stop gate. So I'm just thinking about what I would do if price comes down kind of to this level. That's why I'm going to be quiet. I'm just thinking. Yeah, it's not super clear, is it? Oh, sorry, mate. I just didn't see that. Just joined. How's it going? Sorry, mate. Yeah. I'm well. I'm well. Where are you from? Free. Is that how we say that? Free. Yeah, sorry. Just contemplating away there. Sorry, I didn't realise you were new. How you doing? Nice to have some new faces. Yeah, some days I have days where I just don't shut up. Mind you, I think that's probably been most most of the days so far. Other days where I'm you're unclear. Yeah, it's not. I didn't kind of expect a lot of this, and then this kind of big move down. But some days we get like this. Some days it's just not super clear. Other days it plays, relatively straightforward. Mind you, some days you can have the worst trading day, but if you've got yourself a nice trade or two, it feels like a good day. So it's one of those things. We didn't get down to the bottom there, did we? So, tough one in it. So maybe a little channel there. The break in a new low, higher low there. I won't want to take that long, not going into the support. I don't know what it's doing here. Now, as we know, a lot of times we'll push up into a range and then we'll push up out. We go up, across and out. And that's really how a lot of things turn into channels. Kind of like that. Exactly the same thing down there. We push down, push a bit sideways, and then we drop down again. Same again, we push up, we push a bit sideways, and we push up again. But this is quite broad, and we still haven't retested these lows. So a lot of the time we will retest these lows. Depends how you feel about that. Initially, I had that channel like that, in which case we've had a break and a new low, but then we came down, pulled back, came down, pulled back, came down. So then I extended it, and it fits kind of nice. The bottom, we got a touch, a touch, a touch. The bottoms fit quite nice as well. It's coming away from the bottom there. So whenever it does that, I always expect a break, which is exactly what happened. So the trouble is it'll only try so many times to test it. So see this, what we're getting now, it's definitely moving up in this kind of little thing, isn't it? But it did there and then it came back. So I'm still not super clear, but a lot of times up and across, up, across, and up, and vice versa, down, across, and down. But this doesn't look like a strong reversal to me. So I don't know whether it's just playing games and eventually it's just going to come tearing down. We've probably got liquidity. I dare say we have something here, but sometimes it'll do this and then just tank. But I don't know at the moment. It's just not super clear. Some days, I like the way Mac describes it. The market has multiple personalities. Some days it's like going out for a beer with your best mate. You can sit there in complete silence. You don't feel uncomfortable. You know what his every move is. And then other days, it's almost like you're out with a complete stranger. And it's just, you never quite know what to expect. So I always used to think I had to know what was going on. So I was always trying to figure out what I thought was happening. And sometimes when it's not clear, it's perfectly acceptable to not know what's going on and just to let it do its thing and stay out of it. And here it's probably one of those examples. We had kind of 3 tests of this, and I thought that may push down, but it didn't get close. Best opportunity was a bit counter trend. Yeah, it's hard to say because I think the overall that I'm seeing, it's generally a range day. I think it's safe to say we're more or less going sideways with more or less. We got these little trends within channels and stuff like that, but the overall day I think so far is more just ranging. We've got a little bit of movement, but we pushed up, then we range, we pushed up, and then we pulled back, and then we pushed up, and then we range. So it's kind of a lot of this sideways stuff. So it's hard to know exactly. The trouble is, it makes it more difficult, especially when the range is quite broad. It makes it more difficult, to catch these kind of moves, really. But we are pushing up. Will that continue? It's hard to say. We're ranging. It may come back and test the tops. So people kind of jump in here, and then all of a sudden it pulls back, tests the tops, takes a few stops out on its way, and then off it goes again. But that's going up quite strong to me. So we have liquidity there, which is probably just cleared out. The strongest sellers I can see are around about 51.5, which is about there ish. Maybe a bit more. It seems to change every minute today. And then we've got buy orders around just over 40, which is there, which tells me, my guess is, because we've had quite sharp here, we'll probably get a bit of a correction before it goes much higher. But you can see these buyers, they were at 40. Now they're slowly moving up. I wouldn't be buying up here that far from the top in case it tests the top, or that far from the EMA. So it's a bit of a funny day today, and I can say that because we don't often see Bookmap doing this. These little kind of block. You mentioned it earlier, just little block orders type thing, and it's just following that. So it's a bit of an unusual day. I don't quite know how you would characterize that. 2-tiered uptrend. There may be, but it's quite broad, I think. And the broader that is, I wouldn't expect that. So my thought process is we would do something like that and then maybe do something. Obviously, the broader this channel is, the wider see, straight away we got a bit of an overshoot. And the broader these 2 legs are, they end up doing more this. But, if we wanted to take that up there for a 2-tiered channel, we're out the top there a bit. Well, I think we are. So I'm just not, it's not strong enough for me to, and not only that, if it is a channel, you wouldn't be trading up here anyway. You'd be looking for kind of a comeback, really, wouldn't you? And 42, come back, pull back. There, 42.5, which is more or less where I got that. So I'd certainly expect a bit of size, but I don't like that channel for some reason. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right. It don't look right. I don't know, something about it. So I tend to leave it alone. It looks like a push up with a couple of attempts to go lower and then another leg up, but I don't know at the moment. It's a bit of a funny day today. I did take a trade earlier. I ended up losing my nerve because it moved quite quick and got out, which went on to work quite nicely actually, but that would have put me 3,000 up on the day. But there you go. It happens sometimes, doesn't it? I don't like these quick moves. All I think is when I see these quick moves, what's Trump saying? He's not done it so much lately, but maybe a month or two ago, he had a tendency to tweet throughout the day. He's always been an avid tweeter anyway, but it affects the markets. We just had big spikes up or down, which is not popular with traders because it can just create havoc. As a rule, as we know, we get certain news events that we know of beforehand. So we can stay flat and get out the market because no one likes surprises when you're risking money. Christmas Day, we like surprises, but that's it. Sometimes we like a surprise if the wife comes in wearing something nice bit of underwear. They're the good surprises. But not when you got money in the game. Well, that happens to me much nowadays. We live in hope. So orders here around about the 41-ish, which is there. Now that's better. By the time this gets down here, that EMA is going to probably meet. So a couple of legs down, possible push up. But my concern here, if this is a channel up, they may come down towards the bottom of the channel, but that looks like a leg up with a correction and a leg up to me. I think we get a channel like that, we get a little bit of sideways and straight down, we've got a channel up, and then we get a load of sideways, which makes these two legs quite broadly apart. Kind of like this, two legs back, and then we push up, or in this case, two legs up, and then we pull down. So, does your wife watch the live streams? No, she doesn't. I think she has looked at them in the past, but no. She's out working hard, earning all the money, mate. That's what she's doing. She's got quite a well-paid job. So, yeah, she works Monday to Thursday. So she has looked at them in the past. I mean, she did phone me up a couple of months ago and said there was a few of them at work. She'd obviously said something to someone, and there was a few people watching. But I think the novelty's... Well, I've been streaming now for 3 years, mate. I think the novelty's worn off. Quite glad she doesn't, because she'll then be aware of how much money I've wasted over the years. So these orders here, this is what I'm kind of looking at. We've got a nice tight channel out there, and I'm looking for maybe a couple of legs back. My only slight concern is that this is channel with a break, new high. This is more like this. Two legs back, in which case it may carry on. So we've got two legs up, in which case it may come down. But if we can get down to around about here, pick these orders up. And these orders up there are 50, which is right at the top here. We may come back here, pick these up and move up. But it would have to be a really nice setup. This is a bit clearer. So we got a little micro there with a break. So we need to come down here. I just hope we don't come down here as quick as we did here, because that spooked me. I was expecting it to pull back, but not quite that. So it's about 40, I say 41, 41, 40 and a half, somewhere around about, which is kind of where we kind of want it to be, really. Platzer. That's what I'm reading anyway. Afternoon to you, buddy. Got a couple of new faces today. Where are you guys from anyway? Homeschool. I think you're a new face as well, aren't you? Platzer. There's someone else as well up there. Where are you? Where is he? Alfrey. Where are you guys from? Are you from my neck of the woods in the UK, or are you from from somewhere else. I know a lot of you guys are from the US. There are a few in Europe somewhere. I've got one or two, New Zealand and Australia, so there are a few people from a few places. I always like to know. You're from Wales. I've just lost respect for you altogether. Whereabouts in Wales are you from, bud? I'm not far from Wales. Well, I'm from Shropshire, so well, some consider me as Welsh because we're kind of close to the Welsh border. We're about 18 miles from Oswestry, which is kind of considered kind of Wales. Yeah, it's nice Wales. That's kind of our local coastline, north south east, West Wales around Barmouth and all that. You're from London. Oh, Pembrokeshire. I got you. Yeah, we tend to be outnumbered by the Americans. There's quite a few of those in. Well, obviously they're a big country. What's my wife spending on now? Yeah, there's quite a few from the US. Mind you, there's quite a few Brits as well. Quite a few Brits in here. So we had a bit of a pullback and a break, but we didn't get anywhere near that AMA, unfortunately, and then it just took off. Same again, we're funneling by these equal amount of buyers and sellers. This is unusual. You don't always see this. It can't seem to get to the tops or bottoms, but it's kind of making this kind of weird channel through all this. It's a bit odd, isn't it? I'm just tempted to take a picture of this and send it to ChatGPT and say, based on what you're seeing, when would you suggest I buy? Way better than London. Yeah, London, it's all busy, isn't it? Mind you, London's not what it used to be. It's all changed, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of, there's no peace, really. There's not much in it. Well, you've got bits of countryside, I suppose, haven't you? But it's all hustle and bustle, isn't it? Yeah, you can't beat the countryside. If I pause this or something, is it still moving? I think I paused it by accident. Oh, it is moving, it's moving. So 45 orders there, which is there. Oh, and you're in Michigan, US. There you go. I knew someone had to be. Yeah, there's quite a few US guys. I know quite a few US traders. Yeah, are you? Good on you, mate. And you're Derbyshire. Ah, I used to go and watch the snooker at the Crucible at in Sheffield, and I used to go over the Derbyshire Dales. Beautiful countryside out there. Definitely lovely countryside. I remember only brand new car I ever had. It was a Mini Cooper, 2005. It was so 20 years ago. I remember driving from where I live over to Stoke, out the back of Stoke, and over the Derbyshire Dales over to Sheffield. Absolutely stunning drive, beautiful countryside. To be fair, I haven't seen many of them. I saw one in a pub in the summer, and he came over to me and said, "What you doing?" He knew what I was doing then, and he's done a little bit of trading as well, or he's had a go at it. So I don't see many of them, to be honest with you. I chat to one or two now and again, but I kind of used to work away a bit. The last place I worked was kind of Worcestershire, about 50 odd miles of Worcestershire. We were doing repairs on an old railway they were putting some sort of a new electric railway system in there. So they sort of picked up an old derelict piece of railway, and we had to kind of clean it all up, tidy it up. All the walls were all battered, so we had to kind of do that. So the lads I was working. The trouble is, when you're a bricklayer, you just go from job to job. You might spend a couple of years on one job building a load of houses, then you may go to something else, and you're constantly working with different bricklayers. But I enjoyed the job, to be honest with you. I found it therapeutic laying bricks, brick after brick. The only trouble is with it, as you know, weather. Probably lost half a day to a day most weeks from rain. Light, if it's drizzling lightly, it's not too bad. But once it comes down heavy, it's just trying to lay soup. Your mortar turns into soup and your bricks get all wet, and it's just not nice. I worked for I subbed for a guy, and worked for him, but I think he was contracted for the local council. I think it wasn't Stoke. It was in Dudley. Sorry, that was another job we were on. They were putting some sort of new railway tram kind of system into it, and it was right where the Dudley Zoo is. Literally, you could hear the hyenas in the mornings. Yeah, I know there is. The trouble is, it's just weather all of a sudden. And I tell you what, as well, I was working in Telford, about 15 miles from where I live, and we were building a nursing home, and it was all block, them 7 Newton blocks, so thick, heavy block. And I remember having a block on my shoulder, and I stepped up onto it was all kind of block and beam, and I stepped up, them brick guards, the orange mesh brick guards that they put the sides of the scaffold in. There was a stack of them, and I stood on them, and I just wasn't thinking they slippy, and I went down heavy on that shoulder with a block, and I tore some, I don't know what they were, I just did some soft tissue damage, the doctor said. So, from then on, every time I was laying blocks over a line, just me shoulder was nipping and pinching, and it was just a pain in the arse. And I was into trading then. So then what I did, I decided to go back. I did driving HGV. I was a tanker driver for 11 years, going back some years. So I decided to get back into HGV. Now, the good thing about HGV drivers is a massive shortage again. So then I started driving Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, weekend better money. I could earn a week's money working 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was trading kind of full time. And then when I started making bits of money and I got bits of affiliates, I eventually went to the weekends, and then eventually gave it up maybe a year or so ago. But I did it's nice in the summer. It's nice to be high up on a scaffolding doing a gable or something with the sun beating down. I used to like that. You got your radio playing, haven't you? But, life changes, doesn't it? If you'd have told me 5-6 years ago I'd have been doing this now, I'd have laughed at you. But you kind of never know what life throws at you. I mean, I got into trading purely by accident. I used to do something called matched betting, which is using a kind of software package from a company to kind of take advantage of the free bets the bookmakers give you. And I was doing that a bit part-time and making a bit of money doing that. And then after a while, the bookmakers get wise to you and they stop giving you the offers. So at the time, I heard people talking about Betfair trading sports bets. It's all right, apart from when you've done it. Yeah, exactly. So I did it, I think, for about 2 years. I went for all the sign-up offers, and then you still get offers, don't you? I haven't done it for a couple of years, 2.5 years, but they if your horse come in first or second or something, you get a free bet. Well, I did all that for a while, but after a while, they gob you. So I heard guys in a Facebook group talking about Betfair trading sports bets. And as soon as I started YouTubing that's kind of where I came across trading. William Hill is the only one that sends me offers now. Yeah, I think it was Paddy. I think William Hill got rid of me earlier. Yeah, they have on it. They haven't they? But I think I did better off Paddy Power than anything because they had all sorts of offer. Bet365 I used to like, but Paddy Power I think was probably the best. But I haven't done a match bet for got to be 2.5 years or something. But I think I made about 8,000 over a couple of years. I didn't do it heavily like some people batter it, don't they? But it was just kind of a bit extra. It's all tax free, isn't it? People, as soon as you mention match betting and you try and tell someone, they just hear the word betting and it goes in one and out the other. Golden goal, yeah. What was the other one? 2-up I used to do or something. If your team goes 2-up, they pay you out regardless of whether it goes on to draw or lose or something. So that was another one I used to kind of like. There was all sorts of weird and wonderful one. What was the other ones? The accumulators as well. Is it accumulators? Something like you bet on 5 or something. Golden goal, 2-up, yeah. They had all sorts of offers, didn't they? And then I did the casino ones, casino, you know what I mean? The fruit machines and all those, whatever they are. I did really well out of one of them. I had a couple of £300 or £400 winners on some of them, but there's a bunch of different things. That's it. I think if you bet £50 over the week, you get a free £10 bet or something. I used to do that. There's all sorts of things I used to do. And that's kind of how I got into trading. I just was researching trading. Well, Betfair trading, actually. And then I came across a guy called Andrew Lockwood, a currency trader, and that is where my nightmare started. And you kind of have a love-hate relationship with trading. Yeah, and I've been trading now 5 years. 5 years, November. I remember my wife getting me a couple of books for Christmas. But little did I know what I was in for, what kind of a ride I'd have. I never understood the meaning of the word journey until I started to trade him, and boy, is it a journey. It certainly is. I got to say, I've done a bunch of jobs in my life, and trading by a million miles is the hardest, most challenging, most painful thing I've ever done in my life. Takes you to places you didn't realise existed. I mean, I've been on my hands and knees, bawling my eyes out after getting battered, losing all my accounts. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, absolutely, yeah. See, trading, I suppose, depends what you characterise as gambling. You're taking a bet where you can win or lose. Now, there's obviously an edge with trading, for most people there is anyway. But you get that same kind of rush that gamblers get. And there have been times where I have not been able to stop, where I felt physically sick. I mean, I've walked away from the charts. Have a look. Honestly, I'm at the point now where winners don't excite me. That's a great point to be at. Sorry. That's a great, yeah. I don't get excited now when I go at the charts. I used to get that tingle in my belly and that excitedness. I don't get it now, and I'm glad. But I remember revenge trading one evening, and the trouble is, when you go on tilt big style, usually you're in or you're out quite quickly. But this went on for about 45 minutes. I was up, I was down, I was up, I was down. And I remember walking away from the charts, and for about an hour after, my heart was going to the clappers. It was bump, 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 bump. So you go through that stage where you're putting money after money, you're losing it all, and it's just, you feel completely out of control, physically sick. It's a horrible place to be. Fortunately, touch wood, I've been out of that for a while now, certainly this year, but it is a horrible feeling. And not only that, usually when you're gambling, you can't put money into a bookies from a credit card, but you can buy affiliates with a credit card. And I used to do that. And I found what I was doing is I was racking up about £1,000 a month, and then my affiliates were paying it. So fortunately I had the affiliates, but whereas I could have been making a little bit of money with affiliates, I was just racking them up and then paying them, racking them up and then paying them. But you can understand how people would get in massive amounts of debt if you're not careful. Fortunately, I've never been a gambler. It's just never excited me. But if some people are, I bet learning to trade as financially crippled people. Now, we only rent our home. We used to own years ago, but we just decided to rent in the end. But, it must wreck some lives, I don't doubt. So what I'll say is when you've been doing it a while, eventually, bloody failure here. How you doing, Jay? Eventually that all starts to go and you start to become, the best way I can describe it is I'm at peace with trading. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't disappoint me anymore. I'm kind of in that comfort zone. And I've come to the conclusion from all the shit I've done, the only way this works is if you sit there, wait for a great setup, take it and move on. Learn from it, put it aside you and start again. And you have to just do that day in, day out. And when you've picked up some skills and you do that, you start to make money, your account starts to go up. But it takes a long time to get to that stage. You've got to batter yourself mentally enough times for your brain just to start getting to that level of acceptance that it's just not worth doing anything. But, I can't fight the markets anymore. I can't battle them because I'll lose every time. And you get that acceptance of where you just sit in front of a chart and you wait for a setup and you take it. That's what I try to do now. Occasionally you take something that's a little bit rocky, but the trick is just to put it aside and just to move on. Position size helped me a bunch. Smaller windows of motion. Yeah, I mean, if you're risking $200-300, there's a bit of emotion there. If you're risking $2, there's none. So the trouble is, the sensible people tell you to reduce your risk until the discomfort goes. But my answer to that is I'll be making about $2 or $3 per trade, and I'm never going to get rich doing that. So I traded 2 contracts for a long time, but I have come down to 1 now, and that suits me better. Let me have a look. Yeah, I started with my own money. Big mistake. Iceland, unfortunately, it can't be taught how to reach it without the pain. Yeah, I agree, mate. This is, you can guide someone, but you can't ultimately do it for them. The person has to go for it. I've said this, the same we have in the UK. If you bang your head against a brick wall enough times, you realise it starts to work. And that's exactly what it is. If you punish yourself enough, your mind, it's like anything. If you all of a sudden went out to work for the day in your bare feet, you'd get home with your feet cut to shreds. Well, if you went out in your bare feet every day for 3 months, you'd build up big calluses on your feet. So your body has got a way of adapting. If we go down to the gym and lift heavy weights, your body gets stronger. You can see that. You can physically see the difference. You can see the weight come off. You can see yourself getting toned. But changing how your brain works, it's inside your head. You can't really see it. So you can't see any kind of physical change. And that's what makes it hard. And because we focus on that negative pain, it's really hard to see that you're making progress, because we focus on the pain and not focus on the fact that we're learning every day as well. You focus on how bad it feels, but what you're forgetting is every day you sit in front of this chart, you're learning. You make mistakes and you learn from them. But we don't focus on that side of it. The best way I can describe it is a seesaw. So when you start trading, your skill level's down here and your emotion level's up here. And over time, as your skills start to improve and as your emotions doing it every day start to get less and less, you start to get that slow tip. And eventually you'll get kind of level where the emotions don't play as much as a role and your skill level gets you to win more trades than you lose. And that's when the seesaw scale, whatever you call it, tips in your favor. And that's when you slowly start to grow. But it takes time, way more time than I ever thought it would, way more time. And it's just kind of how it is, unfortunately. But if you can put up with the pain and keep coming back, you will get better. And, one thing I was aware of when I first started trading is I was aware of the potential. I spoke to enough people, and I knew there was a potential to have a nice lifestyle, to work less hours and to earn more money and have control over my life, not working for anybody else, not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and joining the rat race, which I never liked. Now I work on average. What have I done today? 3 hours, got to the chart 10. Normally 3.5 hours is my average day. Now, how many people do you know that work 3.5 hours? Not many. And you're always at home in the dry, in the warm, and you get just a much better social life, obviously, assuming you can afford it. So I'm at that level now where I'm enjoying my trading. I don't get excited when I get to the charts. So there's less of that kind of, excited, nervous feeling. It becomes a bit more boring, which is much better. And then you start to see results when you really focus on just taking trades. You start to see your accounts. So I had a bunch of accounts, and I think back in about June, I had a bit of a hiccup. I'd earn, I think in January, February, March, April, May, I'd earn about $33,000 in the first 5 months. And that was only trading 9 accounts. Bank was looking nice and healthy, and I relaxed. I took my finger off the pulse, took a risk, got a bit too cocky or confident, and I moved my stop, and it came against me, and I moved it again. Karina was sat there. It was a bunch of you. Karina was going, telling me, get off it, move away, and I couldn't help it. And I ended up blowing my accounts. So I never earned anything then for 3 months. So I got a bunch of accounts, and then I just played the game properly. And in October, I had $8,000 from Apex, $8,000 from Traderify, and another $2,500, 67. So I earned about $18,500, and that was in the space of just trading those accounts for 2.5 months. Now I'm now at that next level where I've earned money, I've taken it, I've blown them, I've earned money, taken it. Now I'm looking more long term. I've got that self-confidence and self-belief that if I play the game right, I can make money in this business. Now I'm aiming to grow my accounts to get to a level where I can trade a small percentage and get a regular monthly payment. So you go through those levels of not making anything to making bits, to blowing them. You make the bits, you take all the money, you blow them, and then sooner or later you realize that now I need to start thinking, kind of long term. Karina asked me for a divorce. I don't think she was going to speak to me again after that. So yeah, and that's kind of the level I'm at now, where I'm thinking more getting profits long term. So I've got 20 accounts at the moment. My plan is to get them to 7,500. What I'll probably do is get them to 3,500, 4,000, take 500 off each, so a small amount, and then trade them up to 7,500. If I'm risking one contract, I'm risking an average of 2%, which is perfect. And then my aim is I don't think it's difficult to make $250 per account per week. And if I do that with 20 accounts, that's $20,000 per month. And then, you can have 5 Traderify accounts as well, 5 Lucid accounts, 5 My Funded Futures accounts, 5 Take Profit Trader accounts. So, that 20,000 a month can turn into 40,000 a month and more. And once you start earning money like that, then you start putting so much into your own brokerage and trading that. And once you start to make money, your ability to make more money slowly starts to grow. Let's have a look. Yeah, I have 20 with Apex at the moment. There's my accounts there. So I just, so even one tick profit with a $4 fees, I'm still up $170. But yeah, I because they've been so cheap lately, $35 and then $40. We've never had $40 for the PA fee, so I just thought I'd take full advantage. So I just thought, let's just get up to the 20, and then just focus one trade a day, one contract, trade them all at the time, and just leave it at that. So now we've got a leg and a leg down here. Now, is this a channel up? I don't think it's a bad channel. Let's see what sort of reaction we get here. So we've got orders down here at 37, which is a bit low for me. But yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, I've got the max amount with Apex, and I did that because they were cheap. So when I take a payment, when I get to about $3,500, I'll take a $500 payment times 20, $10,000, and I'll probably use maybe $2,000 just to focus on getting maybe 5 My Funny Futures 5 take profit, something like that, and just kind of build there. But I'm not getting excited anymore. I'm just playing the game as it's meant to be played, sat here patiently, regardless what anybody else does. If I don't like the trade, I leave it. If I like it, I take it and I move on. So no heroics, no trading, maybe one account because it's a bit risky. I'm not fanning around doing anything like that. I'm just trading them all together, waiting for a good setup, and that's it. I'm taking it one day at a time. Nothing more, nothing less. So we've got 2 legs down here. I can't take nothing here. This may be a channel up, but I'm not super convinced. So more emails. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I said that. I just thought, well, they're cheap. Because if I have 10 of them and I get up to 7,500, I'll be kicking myself thinking, why not I just get 20 while they were cheap? But I've got to say, though, I've only had 20 once before, and I was scared shitless when I was trading them. In fact, I traded them 10 at a time. Now I'm trading them 20 at a time, and I'm not really super nervous because slowly over time, the first biggest payout I had was $10,000. That, I think, was maybe March. I felt amazing. And then I had $17,500 in October. So every time you get bigger payments, your brain can cope with those larger amounts of money flicking before your eyes. You can't go from nothing to massive amounts of money. Your brain won't be able to cope with it. You'd be a nervous wreck, but you slowly go up trading to it. No, I can't remember now. I might have been. But I was really scared taking them. I'm not now, because I'm just saying if it's a good setup, I've got to take it, and that's it. I can't do anything more than wait for a good setup and take it, and just leave it at that. So I'm in a good place now mentally. Don't scare me anymore. I don't get super nervous and excited, which is good. My heart couldn't handle that. Mine couldn't, mate. But that's my point. It takes time to build up, to see those larger amounts of money flickering before your eyes. And it kind of happens over time. Let me get rid of this thing. Kind of happens over time. It's not the easiest day to trade today because it's well, I mean, you can clearly see there's 2 legs there, but then are we coming back? Are we going to push up? Some days we get days like this that they may look okay after the fact, but sometimes they just don't make a hell of a lot of sense. In fact, I think doesn't Nutty now wear a heart monitor? There used to be a trader, I forget his name now, that used to wear a heart monitor. So you could see when he was in a trade, I think it would stick around maybe 80, 90 beats per minute. And then when he got into a trade, it went up to like 140, 145. And I think Sam did it, 5-trader. I don't think he trades anymore. I've not heard sight the sound of him, but he's a nice guy, Sam. And I think Sam did it for a while. But it just goes to show how much those emotions kick in. I might have a go one day just for fun. Yeah, he did. Sam did it. Yeah, it was another guy originally did it, and then I saw Sam doing it. I might have I don't know how I would hook it up to. I have an Apple Watch, but I don't know how I would hook it up. But it'd be interesting just to see how you cope with it. I don't know whether seeing my art at 150 beats per minute would stress me out even more. We've got some sell orders around about the 35, which if we have a break, by the time this pushes up and the EMA comes down, probably be around about here. You can see we've had originally resistance there, so be interesting to see what happens here. I remember he moved his stop once. It was about 10 points in the red. I thought I needed to put. Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you how many times. Well, a lot of you guys have seen me do that, haven't you? And I think I can't remember. It was June. I think I ended up moving it. Some days, for some reason, you just feel quite impulsive, and something doesn't feel quite right. Now, what I will say is I'm better at noticing days like that. Some days you feel just flippant. It's hard to describe why, but I think days like that, it's a good idea to just shut down and get away, because I think you got more chance of doing yourself more harm than good. Another good bit of practice I've got at the moment is my Guardian Angel Trader is set to 1 loss. So if I take 1 loss with a slight fluctuation of $20, $25, so if I get out for break even and I lose a tick, I'm okay, trade again. But if I lose a trade, I'm shut down for the day. I can't trade. I'm locked out. So that's another good safety thing in. So if I have a bad day, it won't be a bad day, as if you see what I mean. Laufey, how you doing, buddy? Most frustrating thing for me is ending the day with 0 trades. Then I check other people. Yeah, don't do that, mate. And I'll tell you why. A lot of people mark trades that they don't take. Now, I know Marco marks 3 or 4 trades a day, and I can tell you for a fact he doesn't take that many. I've spoke to him about it. He marks them after the fact. So, yeah, don't be frustrated if no one... I haven't taken a trade today. Well, I took one. I didn't take one yesterday. I noticed a few other people. But after listening to that Vladdy guy, he's been trading for 12 years. He makes a ton of money, so they say, and he only looks for 1 trade a day. So don't see people taking 3 or 4 trades and think maybe you should be trying to do that, because you don't know whether they're trading in an evaluation, in which case they're going to be more risky, or you don't know whether they're trading them on a sim, or you don't know whether they're saying, because everybody else said they took it, I'm going to say I took it, whether they did or not. So I used to think that, why am I not taking this many trades? And when I started talking to more experienced traders, they take less. So yeah, it absolutely does not bother me in the slightest not taking a trade. What's more important to me is if I didn't see a trade that I really liked, I didn't take it. And my job is to sit here patiently with discipline and wait for what I believe to be a good setup. You can't force a trade because it doesn't work. So you have to sit patiently. And if I sit patiently for 3 hours or however long it is, and I don't see what I believe to be a good trade, I pat myself on the back for not taking one, because that's my job. It's not to force trades or try and make trades out of nothing. It's just to sit here until one presents itself, and then I take it, and so on and so forth. So don't beat yourself up that you don't take a trade. I consider it a good day if I've had the patience to not take a trade, if one hasn't presented itself. You'll always get another trade and you'll always make money, but don't punish yourself like that. Because the better traders take less trades. Marco doesn't always take a trade. Sometimes he'll take one, maybe two on the odd occasion. So, don't don't give yourself a hard time about it. And never listen to other people if they say they're taking a trade or you should have taken the trade. You take what you believe to be a good setup, and that's the only way you learn, by making your mistakes. So when you see that picture next time that got you into the trade, eventually you'll start to get an odd feeling that something doesn't feel right here. I've been in this picture before and it didn't end well. So yeah, don't beat yourself up, buddy. Do you trade evals the same as PAs? No, I trade evals like a raving maniac. Stupidly. So the trouble is, when you trade in evaluations, if you trade them aggressively and stupidly, you can start to get bad habits, which is why I hate taking evaluations. But if you're learning, I don't think you do any favors by trading them aggressively. Now, I believe that when I get a PA account, I can get it up to payment level, so I don't mind aggressively trading it. But if you're a new trader, I wouldn't pick yourself up an evaluation for the first time and trade it aggressively and try and get lucky to a PA, because you may get lucky, but you'll pay the fees to a PA account and you'll blow it. I guarantee it. So only go risky with them if you want to try and get it quick so you can start making money. I had to change what success for the day being did. I tried my plan, which can include a loss, not base success on money. Yeah. If I take the loss and though was not move my stop with success. Absolutely. The only thing we can really do here is turn up and play the game like it's supposed to be played. We sit, we wait for our entry. If we don't get one that we like, we do nothing. And if you do that, obviously you've got to have some skills there. And the way your skills build up by taking what you believe is to be the right setup and learning when it goes wrong. For me, one trade days, absolutely. I rarely take a trade again if I've already won a trade. If I win a trade, I can sit comfortably and enjoy the day because I know, I've had a profitable day. So one trade a day is a good number, mate, whether it's a win or a lose. And I suppose one of the most experienced traders, that we've come across lately is the guy, that Vladdy guy. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's, I think Mac endorses him. Marco does. I know he's helped Marco a lot. And that's all he takes. He sits and waits for a high quality one trade a day, nothing more, nothing less. And I think that's a good policy. So what would I do here? So strong orders at 37.5, which is around about here. So I wouldn't take that short. Now you may argue there's a little channel with a break and there could well be, and this may come down, but because those orders are up there, I would hold back here because I don't love this anyway. It's a little bit congested, this is. So there may be a little micro with a break and a new high, but you could always argue there's that as well. In which case we may have a break and a new high, but you can see those strong orders there are a little bit higher. So while those strong sellers are there, I wouldn't take a trade. Excuse me a sec. tired, miserable teenager on my hands. So, channel break, new high. Right, okay. There's nothing there anyway. Now, fortunately, that one triggered, but I doubt many people would have traded it. That one didn't, so channel break, new high. It's not the easiest day to trade today. These orders are getting higher and higher, which is sucking this up. Now, you may argue that was probably better. In which case we've already had a new low. So it's irrelevant now anyway, even if it's a slightly bigger one. This thing is, mind you, if it is the larger channel, we haven't had a new low yet, have we? So, not sure about that. Have a look. My last I passed in 2 days. Lance style. Thank you. What's the link to Dan's Discord? It's in the description of this video, bud. And same again, I absolutely endorse Dan. Lovely guy. You'll definitely learn from him. No argument there. So yeah, it's in the description of me videos, but videos, live streams, whatever, either or. I have an Evan now, but I don't want to blow because I can easily go against. Yeah, best thing really to do is to trade it properly. It's difficult because they're cheap and you take a risk, but you can build up bad habits and throw unnecessary money away. So the sensible thing to do, especially if you're new, you're not going to do yourself any favors. Now, all I did when I got my first few evaluations was trying to trade the hell out of them, try to get to a PA, because I thought if I can get to a PA, I was going to make a shed load of money. And it's not the case. All you'll do is get your PA, you'll pay $140 for it and blow it. I guarantee it. So there's no need to try and push it just to try and say, oh, I've got my PA, because it doesn't work that way. So the best way to trade it is only ever to get one and just trade it what you believe. That is the best and the most sensible way. I found that near impossible because I'm an idiot. But if you're sensible, you'll make life easier and it'll be less painful and you'll waste less money. That I can assure you. Did I? Let me have a look. Give me a second. Right, you may hear me speak. Oh, no, okay. Let's have a look. Oh, it's unusual. That is unusual. You know what? I think I made a little video and I did something, didn't I, one day ago? Let's have a look at that. Oh, yeah, you're right. Link to our Pat's Discord. Is that it? No. Invite invalid. Oh no, it's here. It's here. Dan's Discord here. There you go. Yeah, it's here, bud. So when was this one? This was yesterday's video. So it's down there, Dan's Discord, bud. Yeah. In fact, can I copy the link? Copy link. Paste. Oh no, for some reason it says 129 figures too long or something. But yeah, anyway, so if you go to yesterday's stream, and it's down there, Dan's Discord link, or whatever they call it, Discord link. There you go. And that's it there. Okay, so channel break, new high, starting to move down. I wouldn't have taken that anyway. After this channel down, is this coming down? It kind of looks like it. Little break there. I don't think you can consider that as a lower high, because there's a channel down there with a small break. So I would like to see a pullback or something here. So we've pulled back right to the 50% line now. We know the 50% line plays a part, don't we? So it's just too low to get in here, really. That is better. I still don't like this. There are going to be some bulls trapped there, but the next lot are right down here. Something I don't like here. Take PA very serious. So I reduce the risk. I only trade micros and go for 6 micros. Yeah, sensible, mate. Sensible. Excuse me a sec. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay, so what time is it? So 15 minutes. I can't trade after anyway. I'm locked out from 6:30 UK time. So strong orders at 37, which is a little bit below that, about 36.5 there. And buyers around about the 6, something like that, which is about there. So we got sellers here, buyers here. So I was kind of hoping we'd have a couple of pulls up and then maybe down again. It took me a long time to take it serious. I've just found it really hard. I did. Not necessarily hard to learn, hard to take it serious enough. I just kept taking risks. So I think the best thing I've done is to lock myself out after a loss. That way, it doesn't matter how bad my psychology is, I can't do myself any damage. 37.5, that is. So, you know, if you use Ninja Trader, I would definitely consider getting Guardian Angel Trader. I think it's about $399, but you'll save you that with 3 or 4 blown accounts. I can tell you I've had 10, 20 times that, so I wish I'd have had it a long time ago. Trouble is, I've had it so I can take 2 losses and it. So for my personality, because I still don't like taking little losses, if I take 1 loss in a day, that's it. I'm blocked out, and then I can't do myself any damage. AD&J being locked out, or maybe, yeah, you can't do nothing. You can't even delete the software. So, but what it does is it takes you away from the place that can do you damage. And then later in the evening, you'll calm down and you'll be fine. And tomorrow you'll come back perfectly calm. So if you're finding when things go wrong, that's when you do yourself some damage, get Guardian Angel Trader. How much is he charging? Guardian Angel Trader, are you on about? You're on about, Dan? I think it's $25 a month, mate. I believe there's tax with that. I don't know how the tax works in the US, but I think it worked out. Someone told me about $28, $29 per month. They do affiliates, yeah. I haven't. I'll tell you why I haven't done it. So I had a problem with, I couldn't get into my NinjaTrader for some reason. I don't know what I did. It was when I moved on to my new computer. And the guy that wrote the software said, I'll help you if you want. So he, through Google Chrome Connect or something, he logged into my computer and spent about 45 minutes in there and sorted it all out. So I thought that was a nice thing to do. So I'll recommend him. But I don't want to, I'm not bothered about getting any affiliates. He's done me a favor. So I don't want to take any money. He's an individual guy anyway. So I'm not interested in making money out of him because he's done me a solid. So, I believe if people help you, you help them back. It's all about helping each other. So I might put something on my charts actually, but I'm not interested in making any money because he's helped me out. He's a nice guy. $24.99 from a PC. Yeah. But no, I mean, talking about Guardian Angel Trader as well, it's a great bit of software that can save you an absolute fortune, and it forces you to get out of bad habits. But if it does affect you, my suggestion is put one loss a day, lock yourself out. That way, your damage will be minimal. See, we got a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. Now, I don't trade patterns, but I can see one. So my guess is this going to get up here and then turn down? So that order there is at 40. You can see there's orders at 40, maybe fractionally below, but the orders more importantly are one tick above that bear bar. So if this gets up there, is this likely going to look like two legs? It may do. So it's not the easiest day today. Looking at Bookmap, it's just weird, isn't it? It's quite hard to follow this. It doesn't look like it's going to be a bad day, but it's one of those range days that every time we bounce off the bottom, it's in a different place. We bounced here, bounced down here, and every time we bounce up, it's a different place. It's very hard to follow this. And it's hard to know if you're doing the right thing. So this just may be one of those awkward days. We do get them sometimes, and all of a sudden you'll get a good day. And everything will be rosy, but I think I'm going to knock on the head today, actually. I've only got another 10 more minutes before I'm locked out anyway, so I can't see anything changing. Not the easiest day today. Let me just shut down my replicator. Not the easiest day today. It's just one of those days. Sometimes we just... Well, I did take a trade earlier, but because we had that quick movement, it unnerved me a little bit. And I left it. So I'm going to leave you good people there. So let me just take a quick photo. I always save my charts. I've been saving them now for 4.5 years. Save chart image. So that's fine. No trades for 2 days. Couple of trades. Still plenty of time to get a couple of trades, and that'll get me into... enjoyed trading with you today. First time I ever found it because of Lazar. Brilliant. Excellent. I appreciate it, mate. Nice to have you here. It's always nice to have some new faces. So I'm sorry it was a little bit more lively. But it's just one of those things. Some days but looking at Bookmap, it's odd. And that might be why it's kind of swinging, isn't it? But with no kind of consistency. So it's just one of those things anyway. So I'm going to leave you folks to it. So I appreciate your company. I'll be back again tomorrow. Good luck if you're carrying on. Otherwise, have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.